Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Reincarnated Dragon. Obtain 12 talismans at the beginning. Chapter 81. Thunder flashed in the center of the town. The intertwined blue lightning prevented Pedri from getting close to Dillina's body, and every sword attack was easily blocked by Dillina's magic. Every adult dragon is a magic master. There are countless magics that can be controlled. Pedri could not get any benefit from Dillina's hands. He can only use his own means to delay Dillina and prevent the town of Cordo from causing greater damage. This made Dillina very irritable. This bug couldn't hurt him, but he couldn't ignore Pedri. Otherwise, Pedri's sword would be enough to cause damage to her. Human swordsmen, unless they have Caesar's abnormal defense, they will not be able to block Pedri's attack without being injured. She is not a freak like Nishizawa. Roar! The irritable Dillina roared. There's no way you can stay here, evil blue dragon, get out of here quickly. Pedri shouted in pursuit of victory. He knew that this giant dragon had lost patience. Human, I want you to die. Dillina was completely angry. Even if he was defeated by Caesar in frustration before, now even a small human can ride on top of his head. The terrifying majesty erupted from the blue dragon and swept the entire place. Pedri, who was just about to step forward, felt his whole body shake. His soul seemed to float out of his body, and he briefly lost control of his body. Dillina seized this opportunity to control Pedri, and covered Pedri heavily with her thick claws. Boom! Dusty ran, Dillina said in surprise. She didn't feel anything under her paws. Follow the breath and look to your side. Then he saw a frightened Pedri standing there, with two other human beings with swords king level beside him. Are you okay, Commander Pedri? I'm fine, luckily you arrived in time. Pedri breathed a sigh of relief. The feeling of walking around the gate of hell was really terrible. Cold sweat ran down his forehead. It was impossible to capture this adult dragon with just them. This is an adult blue dragon. How is the evacuation going? Pedri wiped the cold sweat from his face and said. Everyone has almost evacuated. They should have left the town of Cordo. It's time for us to retreat, Commander Pedri. The Sword King Guard reminded. The adult dragon is not something they can defeat. Now we can compete with adult giant dragons on a par, just because humans are small in size and fast, so they can easily avoid the attacks of adult blue dragons. But as time goes by, their physical strength will slowly disappear. When your physical strength is exhausted, you can no longer hide. Well, prepare to retreat. Pedri left these words. He took the lead and rushed in front of Dillina. He wanted to delay time for the soldiers. This battle, too many soldiers were killed or injured. At a rough glance, the number of surviving soldiers is estimated to be less than 10,000. Of course, the monsters also suffered a lot of losses. 50,000 monsters were killed until only about 20,000 were left. A full 3/5 were lost. This is a brutal battle. No party can escape unscathed. Ready to leave. It's impossible for you to leave here, stay here for me. Fearing that Pedri and the others would run away, Dillina simply released the forbidden magic. With her as the center, the blue magic circle instantly descended on the town of Cordo, covering the entire town of Cordo. Unless she takes the initiative to open it, or kills her, no one can destroy this magic restriction. No one should run. Rear, the fleeing people, organized by some soldiers and knights, moved toward Lebio City in panic. As long as they arrive in this city, they will be safe. Although Lebio City does not have as strong an army to guard as the small town of Cordo, there is no sword master to protect their safety. But Lebio City is equipped with more advanced magic technology. Magic technology is a combination of magic and technology. Runes can be drawn using magic and attached to technological weapons to make the weapons more powerful. It's similar to enchanting a weapon. With the magic technology here, these monsters cannot approach the city at all, and they will be destroyed by the magic technology. This is the reason why humans can gain a foothold on the continent. The only inconvenience is that large and powerful magical technology cannot be portable and can only be fixed in one place. Otherwise, humans can use magic technology to conquer the continent, instead of staying on your own land. Another point is that magic technology consumes the energy of magic crystals, and magic crystals are relatively rare. Even the Empire cannot afford to use magic technology to fight all the time. unless it is mounted on a small and portable magic technology. But this also greatly reduces the power of magic technology. Don't panic, everyone. Commander Pedri has held back the dragon and monsters, we just need to move forward in an orderly manner. Watch your step, soldiers commanded the people. To prevent a serious stampede. Where do you want to run to? Let me guess. Is it Lebio City? At this moment, a crimson hill blocked everyone's eyes and became an insurmountable mountain. The rising fire jumped on the thorns, and the hot firelight exuded the same brilliance as the sun in the sky. The aura of destruction and death spread on this behemoth. The terrifying dragon eyes reflected the panic of this group of people. Countless people were stunned with fear, and their legs trembled as they froze in place. The huge black dragon horn crown made these humans breathless. 0. The time at this moment is approaching noon. Caesar's arrogance came into play again, and the 22-meter reminder based on him skyrocketed to 125 meters. This is not even his peak body shape. If it were noon or 1 minute of noon, his size would be even bigger. Beyond the ancient dragon is a piece of cake. Red dragon. Red dragon. Why is there a red dragon here? Isn't there an adult blue dragon that appeared in the town of Cordo? By God of the sun, are we hopeless? This must be the sun god punishing us. All the elites in the town of Cordo stayed there, fighting with the monsters. How could the soldiers and knights who were guarding the people leave be so powerful? The moment they saw Nishizawa, everyone lost the desire to fight. Fear and terror permeated the crowd. There were also the sounds of children crying. Don't be afraid. I am a kind-hearted red dragon. Unlike those guys who do all evil and only know destruction, I will not hurt you. Caesar showed a friendly expression as much as possible. A plan that could gain a lot of evil points created a storm in his mind. He has a plan. Listening to the dragon's voice echoing in their ears, everyone was filled with disbelief. How could the red dragon, which was famous for its destruction and arrogance, let them go? But at this moment, what methods can they use to face the red dragon? This is an adult red dragon, and there is no chance of defeating it. Great red dragon, we have no enmity with you. Please let us live. There is a blue dragon in the small town of Cordo behind us. One soldier mustered up the courage to step forward and said, I want to borrow the red dragon's hand to get rid of the blue dragon. Kill with a borrowed knife. The 5 color dragons have never been united, and perhaps they can use this to help Commander Pedri and the others. That's what I want to say. Please follow me back to the town of Cordo. Of course, you can choose not to go back. Bang! The words just fell. Nishizawa gave his tail a heavy blow and hit it hard on the huge rock next to him. The rock exploded and shattered instantly, and the small pebbles shot out hit the humans in front of them, making them grin in pain. There is no doubt that if they don't go back, this will be their fate. Everyone, don't be afraid. No matter how powerful this red dragon is, he can't kill all of us. It's so noisy. The next second, the person who was shouting in the crowd was accurately caught by Shizawa and crushed with his claws on the spot. Seeing this, everyone remained silent. Was that person stupid just now? Are you still fighting against an adult red dragon? If they breathe out, everyone will probably die. Now, they have no choice. Cordo town. The 2 sword kings died tragically, and their bodies were chopped into black charcoal by lightning. Even Sword Master Pedri's legs were weak, he was breathing heavily and looked up at Dilla. After Dilla released the forbidden magic, he could only fight to the death with Dilla. After such a long battle, Pedri's physical strength was already exhausted, and the 2 previous Sword King companions were killed by Dilla. You have no strength left, Sway. Dilla said easily. The consumption just now is nothing to Dilla, an adult blue dragon. This is how powerful an adult blue dragon is. Not only the physical strength, but also the magic value did not fluctuate much. Dilla is not stupid. When she releases magic, she always uses magic that consumes low mana, and will not use magic that consumes high mana. Magic that consumes a lot of mana will only be used when encountering an equally matched opponent. For example, when he fought with Nishizawa in Layer Rock. Evil dragon. Pedri gritted his teeth and looked at Dilla with hatred. This blue dragon destroyed this beautiful home. Fortunately, although the town of Cordo is gone, most of the people have evacuated safely. I have lived up to His Majesty the King's will. Even more worthy of everyone. May I be accepted by the sun god after death and lead to the kingdom of God. Dillina, hasn't the battle here ended yet? A deep voice reached Dillina's ears. Along with it, there were many noisy and frightened voices. Pedri's eyes widened and he suddenly looked back, and a majestic red dragon suddenly came into view. The red dragon didn't make Pedri despair. What made Pedri most desperate was the people who were supposed to go to Lebio City. At this moment, they are all back in the small town of Cordo. He looked at the soldiers who were leading the people away, and he needed an explanation. Facing the commander's gaze, these soldiers could only lower their heads. They had no face to face Pedri. Commander Pedri had already stopped the adult blue dragon forcefully. Unexpectedly, the people still did not evacuate this dangerous place in the end. You're here, Nishizawa. This human is hiding here and there like a fly, otherwise I would have killed him long ago. Dillina explained. You have to prove it to yourself. It's not that she's not strong enough. It's because Pedri's speed is too fast and his body is so big that it's not easy to deal with Pedri. Red dragon, blue dragon, click. The sword blade in his hand fell to the ground, and Pedri knelt down with weak legs. Totally hopeless. Who would have thought that two adult five-color dragons were in the same group? The already powerful forces, now combined, are simply impossible to defeat. Unless all the legendary mages and legendary warriors from the imperial capital are called over. Roar. Caesar knew it was time to end this war. He raised his head and let out a dragon roar. The terrifying majesty swept across like a tide, and all the human warriors fell into a daze at this moment. The monsters took advantage of this opportunity and took action. Controlled this group of human warriors. Less than 10 minutes. The more than 5,000 human warriors who were still alive were tied up by the monsters and took off their armor and weapons. Even Pedri was restrained by Caesar with magic. Kill me, despicable red dragon. After 10 minutes of thinking, Pedri already knew that all this was the plan of the blue dragon and the red dragon. It's the minute of noon. Caesar's size exceeded 150 meters. Even Dillina was amazed. This guy obviously hadn't been this big before. It's even bigger now. Dillina was glad that she was not Caesar's enemy. The decision is made. Even if you regain your freedom in the future, you must never become an enemy of Caesar. Revenge is okay, just forget it. I won't kill you, human. Have you ever considered serving me? Offer your soul to me, and I might let you go. Caesar took a fancy to Pedri's strength. Although he is not Dillina's opponent, he can hold Dillina back. One can imagine how powerful the sword master is. Humans are such a powerful race. There will always be a standout, leading humanity out of the siege. Bah, I offer my soul to you. My soul belongs to the bright and holy sun god. You ugly monster is only worthy of hiding in the light of the sun god and lingering. Pedri spat. He would never surrender to an evil dragon. Especially an evil dragon that destroyed his own home. Sun god, I don't know if your sun god will notice your behavior. Maybe he is so moved that he wants to summon your soul. Caesar joked. How could such a superior being as a god care about the situation of ghosts? Otherwise, the gods would not have lasted so long without performing miracles. Snort. Pedri snorted and said nothing. He was prepared to die. Caesar didn't care about Pedri's attitude, but turned to the people of Neme and said, "Do you want to live?" The red dragon's words made this group of people look at each other, wondering what the evil dragon was saying. Listen up, humans, I'm giving you a chance to live, and I hope you can cherish it. The corners of Caesar's mouth raised slightly. May I ask, noble dragon, how do you plan to give us this opportunity? One of the humans summoned the courage to ask. It's very simple. Have you seen these soldiers and Pedri? I just need you to pick up the weapons on the ground and point them at them. Don't worry, you don't have to kill them, you just need to add some wounds to their bodies. As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar in the whole place. No one expected that the chance of survival given by the dragon would be so cruel. You must know that these captured soldiers and Pedri were fighting for everyone before. If they do this now, wouldn't they be human? Everyone couldn't help but take a step back. Everyone looked at each other without speaking. Some people were eager to give it a try, but due to the inaction of their companions, some people looked at Zeiss angrily, wishing to kill him. Time passed by minute. Still no one has made a decision. Caesar smiled lightly, without the slightest surprise. All living things obey the crowd. He could see that many people were already moved. Ever since, Caesar gave the smart Waz a look. Waz understood it and walked up to a human mother without saying a word. The mother was afraid and hugged her child tightly. Waz roughly used force to separate the mother from the child, lifted the child who was less than 5 years old high, and smiled ferociously. Children with thin skin and tender flesh are the best to eat. No, don't eat my baby. The mother stepped forward in pain and hugged Waz's thigh, trying to save her child. Despite her strength, how could she possibly save him? You want to protect your child? Then what should you do? I believe you can understand. Waz stopped his movements, held the child in one hand, grabbed the mother's hair with the other, and knocked her to the ground. He fell right in front of a broken blade. The mother's pupils shrank, and she understood what this jackal meant. Everyone is watching this. They were afraid and hoped that the mother would take action. As long as you have this advantage, others can find reasons. A reason not to feel guilty. I'm sorry. This is my only child, I must protect him. The mother raised the blade in pain and walked toward Pedri with a trembling body. Tears continued to fall from her eyes. Ah, despicable, you evil dragon. Pedri roared. Is this kind of scheming really something a red dragon can do? After eating Caesar angrily, Pedri regained his composure, forced a smile and said, Mother, it's okay, just stab me, I understand your difficulties. Pedri could understand that this mother had no choice but to do such a thing in order to protect her child. I'm sorry, Commander Pedri, I'm sorry. Phew, Pedri gritted his teeth, and the sharp blade lightly scratched his exposed arm, blood oozing out. The human mother only cut a little and then put down the blade in her hand. Waz grinned and handed the child back to the mother. The mother hugged her child excitedly and retreated into the crowd. The remaining people looked at each other and gritted their teeth. I'm sorry, Commander Pedri, and all the soldiers, I still have an elderly mother who needs my care. I can't let a child be born without parents. I'm really sorry, I'm sorry. You'll forgive us, right? Go to hell. With the actions of one or two, a large number of people were affected. They picked up their weapons one after another and attacked the group of surviving soldiers. At first they were very gentle, for fear of really hurting them. But for some reason, someone suddenly rose up and stabbed a soldier in the head without warning, killing the soldier. The death of the soldier instantly caused an uproar. Everyone looked at this man. They couldn't believe that this man would do such a heavy hand to the soldiers who were protecting them. What are you looking at? They deserve to die. Are you right, noble red dragon? The man first glared fiercely at the people around him, then rubbed his hands flatteringly and smiled at Caesar. Interesting, well done, what's your name? Caesar became interested. My name is Wade. Wade responded. Wade, you have done well. From now on, you will be a member of my fourth natural disaster. You will enjoy the same status and treatment as the monsters. Caesar rewarded. Thank you, Master. No, it should be thank you, His Majesty the Emperor. Wade knelt on the ground excitedly, ecstatic. He initially killed the soldier just to gain the dragon's attention. I didn't expect the dragon's rewards to be so impressive. Giving himself the same status and treatment as monsters means that he no longer has to worry about being killed by monsters. Hearing what their red dragon majesty said, the monsters all looked at Wade and remembered this man. Just in case, while waiting for the meal, Wade was accidentally killed. You despicable fellow. You don't deserve our protection. Shut up. What do you know? This is called turning from darkness to light. His Majesty the Dragon is the future. Wade was dismissive and didn't care at all about the soldiers' scoldings. Then he smiled and naturally blended into the monster camp. With Wade as an example. Then things get really interesting. More and more people began to kill soldiers to gain a chance to live safely. Later, the situation intensified. In order to join the fourth natural disaster and survive, they began to fight for the opportunity to kill the soldiers. Seeing this group of people scrambling for the first place, Waz smacked his lips and said, "These humans are really crazy, they are no worse than us. How else could humans occupy such a large territory? Watch the show in peace." Alistar squatted beside him, reviewing his shortcomings in today's battle. "Nishizawa, what you are doing is such a waste of time. Why do you want to keep these humans? Dilla was puzzled. Let's just kill all these weak guys. Not everyone is Pedri. She can still understand how to subdue Pedri, but other humans are completely incomprehensible to her. Just watch, Dilla. Caesar didn't bother to explain. There's no way he could tell Dilla that he was trying to get a lot of evil points. After a while, there were only more than 5,000 warrior prisoners left, but all were killed by this group of humans. Some humans who didn't get the chance were all staring closely at Pedri, who was still alive, and some of them were even finishing up the dead. You beasts, they are willing to sacrifice their lives for you, but you do this. The first mother, Pedri can still understand. For the sake of your own children. But the next behavior of this group of people made Pedri extremely angry. Simply not human, not even as good as a monster. You can't blame us, Commander Pedri. We also want to survive. Besides, it is a wise move to seek refuge with a powerful existence. Wade, the first human to seek refuge in Caesar, has become the leader of this group of survivors. This is the right given to him by Caesar. Shut up. If I had known this, I would have killed you directly. And you too. Pedri said harshly. This beast doesn't deserve their protection. And the 4 adventurous groups who were first hailed as heroes by the small town of Cordo. Who would have thought that among these 4 adventurers, no, I should say 5, one of them was disguised as a monster. All of them are Red Dragon's thugs. Under Pedri's gaze, everyone except Wade turned their heads a little guiltily and did not look directly into Pedri's eyes. Wade said shamelessly, he who knows the current affairs as a hero, Commander Pedri. You, what else did Pedri want to say? Suddenly I felt itchy all over my body. But with his hands and feet bound, he couldn't scratch the itch. This caused Pedri to be like a worm, constantly twisting his body on the ground and behaving strangely. Commander Pedri, what's going on with you? Are you crazy? Wade said in surprise. You won't be so angry with yourself. It's so itchy. It's so itchy. Pedri didn't answer Wade's words, he just kept talking about sheep. It's so itchy. Like thousands of ants crawling and biting on his body. It's so uncomfortable. Quick, come here and scratch my itch. Pedri couldn't stand it anymore. He didn't care whether the person in front of him was Wade or not, he just wanted to beg him to tickle him. What are you talking about? Wade didn't understand very much. Why did Commander Pedri, who was speaking righteously just now, change into this posture at this moment? It seems that the life and death talisman has worked. Caesar chuckled. Hee, this is what I did, Your Majesty the Holy Lord. Obi said, it's a pity that it was too late to use the talisman of life and death on Pedri, otherwise he would have been able to control Pedri in this way. Well done, Wade, go up and give Commander Pedri a good scratch. Caesar ordered. Okay, Your Majesty. Wade was stunned for a moment, then realized what he was doing and stepped forward to scratch Pedri. With Wade scratching his itch, Pedri finally breathed a sigh of relief and felt comfortable. Wade was surprised and disgusted. Doesn't Commander Pedri have any special hobbies? It feels good to make someone scratch it. That's all I can say about myself righteously. Pedri, I forgot to tell you, do you remember what I put on you before? This thing is called the Talisman of Life and Death. Obi smiled and stepped forward and explained the function of the Life and Death Talisman. When they learned that Caesar possessed such a perverted level of Life and Death Talisman, everyone looked at him in shock. There is such a thing in the world. Even the determined Commander Pedri can't stand it. Wade was so frightened that he took several steps back, afraid to touch Pedri for fear that he would be infected. Scratch me quickly. Without Wade's hands, Pedri felt itchy again and couldn't stand it anymore. Scratch him, human, Obi reminded. This. Wade was really scared. Commander Pedri has become like this, why is he still not dead? Don't worry Wade, this thing is not contagious, and I won't use it on you. Caesar said. This sentence is true. Although the life and death talisman is easy to use, it is better to torture talents. The local slave contract is better to control people. Furthermore, the number of life and death talismans was limited, and he did not want to waste the life and death talismans on waste. Hearing that the effect of the life and death talisman was not contagious, Wade was relieved and stepped forward with a smile to continue scratching Pedri. The other humans stood quietly aside, waiting for Caesar's verdict. Everyone at the scene, not surprisingly, all took action due to family members and various connections. Even the kindest people are forced to take action by their relatives and friends, fearing that they will be implicated. In other words, everyone in the audience is the executioner. Call on the fourth natural disaster to conquer the town of Cordo and obtain 160 evil points. Closing square bracket. The appearance of the life and death talisman lets everyone know how despicable you are, and gain 100 evil points. Closing square bracket. Convince humans to kill each other, kill their own protectors, causing everyone to be stained with the blood of sin, and gain 2000 evil points. Closing square bracket. This wave, Caesar directly gained an astonishing 3,500 evil points. Sure enough, this method is the correct way to obtain evil points. It's so cool. The most important thing is that this plan makes this group of people have no choice but to obey their orders. Otherwise, even if they return to the human world, they will be greeted by the judgment of the human world. What if other humans don't believe it? Caesar had already recorded everything with a video recorder. This is good evidence. Kill me, Qian Nujiao, this. Do you still want to arrest me? Your Majesty the Red Dragon. Pedri's symptoms became more and more serious. Waz, who was helping him scratch the itch, scratched his skin at Pedri's urging, causing Wade's hands to be stained with blood. Wade, who was frightened, turned around and asked, Pedri, surrender to me, as long as you offer your soul, I will promise to give you the antidote, how about it? Caesar chuckled. Don't even think about it. Pedri gritted his teeth. He wished he could eat Caesar alive. Okay, Wade, let go of your hand and let Commander Pedri calm down. Clear. Without Wade's help, Pedri only felt more itchy all over his body. He kept twisting his body, letting his skin rub against the sand. The blood stained the sand, leaving a blood-red twisted blood shadow on the ground. I can't stand it anymore. Give me the antidote. Give me the antidote, country. How about you? Surrender. Surrender. I surrender to you. Please. Please. The role of the life and death talisman is not something Pedri can hold on to. If he had a sword, he would kill himself without hesitation. Unfortunately not. Congratulations, Pedri, this is the right choice. Caesar knew that Pedri could not hold on. Take out the antidote from the system space. As soon as the antidote was taken out, Pedri couldn't wait to go up and swallow it. When the antidote entered my stomach, the itching finally subsided. Pedri lay on the ground panting, enjoying the rare peace. The bustling and lively town of Cordo was full of ruins at this moment, with thick black smoke rising. Nishizawa looked around casually. Clean up the mess, this will be our base camp from now on. Why not use a ready-made city? Although the main part of the city wall has been almost destroyed by monsters, it can still be used with a little repair and a few magics. Your Majesty the Holy Lord, these humans. Waz stepped forward and asked cautiously. Do we really want to leave this group of humans behind? Wade, who heard this next to him, trembled and his legs trembled in fear. I was afraid that the dragon would regret it. Stay, they will be part of the fourth natural disaster from now on, and they will be our partners. Caesar kept his promise. There was no option to kill the group. Human beings are also an indispensable race. Caesar plans to conquer some humans. Although these humans do not have strong fighting talents, they still have many other professional skills, such as forging, alchemy, magic. Many monsters are unable to control their abilities. One thing in particular is that humans' smarter brains are more suitable for managing and improving Caesar's rules. It can help Caesar have better control over the fourth natural disaster. Yes, knowing that the dragon did not choose to kill him, Wade and all the humans were relieved. There were some changes in the eyes looking at Zeiss. This is really a kind dragon. If I had taken refuge in this giant dragon from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to suffer such a big ordeal. It's all the fault of Pedri's group of soldiers. If it weren't for them, would they be so frightened? Humanity's thoughts soon changed, and they began to blame Pedri and the soldiers who had guarded them. War Reconstruction. Under Caesar's order, the destroyed houses and city walls were renovated in order to satisfy the needs of monsters. After the renovation, the house was obviously much taller. Caesar destroyed the streets and houses in the center and dug himself a huge dragon's lair. As for your own giant dragon palace, you need to wait until you have enough materials to build it in the future. After all, it takes a lot of manpower and materials to build a palace that can accommodate a giant dragon. It is not something that the current fourth natural disaster can afford. In terms of magic restriction, with Dilla, the adult blue dragon, it is much more powerful than the previous town of Cordo. During the construction of the town of Cordo, there were many foreign traders who wanted to enter the town of Cordo to trade. But what they didn't know was that the small town of Cordo had long been conquered by the dragon. Therefore, one by one fell into the tiger's mouth and became a member of the fourth natural disaster. Those who were unwilling were killed and devoured by the monster mercilessly. The shiny gold coins were presented by the monsters to their holy lord. The gem was given to the mistress Dilla. This is Caesar's order. Compared to gold coins, blue dragons prefer shiny gems, especially sapphires. When she learned that Caesar took the initiative to give the gem to herself, Dilla was extremely happy. She likes Caesar a little bit. Said that he could fulfill one of Caesar's requests. In this regard, Caesar's request was that he hoped Dilla could turn into a human form for once. When she heard that Caesar wanted her to become a weak human being, Dilla did not agree at first. But under the temptation of so many gems, Dilla still turned into a human. The dragon scales surrounded by lightning transformed into a gorgeous blue dress, and the beautiful and charming face was slightly angry. The hot and plump red lips are slightly dissatisfied, and the beautiful dark blue eyes seemed to have electric lights flashing inside. Her curvy figure was tightly wrapped by the dress, showing off her proud mind. Her round and plump buttocks are lifted up, and her pair of slender and voluptuous legs are white and smooth. The blue hair is scattered randomly on the back of the head. I really don't understand why you have this habit. It's really ugly to look like a human being. Dilla said that she looked down on humans at all. If it were a metal dragon, they would be happy to look like humans. But to the five-color dragon, human beings are symbols of weakness and insignificance. This is equivalent to a person turning into a piece of fish that can be slaughtered by others, which makes people feel uncomfortable all over. Yes, that's it. Caesar's eyes lit up. I didn't expect Dilla's human form to be so beautiful. What are you doing? I haven't changed back yet. It doesn't matter, what I want is human beings. Well, a few days later, Nishizawa walked out of the lair refreshed. It was night, and many monsters and humans had fallen asleep. Pedri still hasn't let him go free and is tied up in the dungeon. Name: Caesar Fafnir Laden Nidhogg. Race: world-destroying Crimson Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Strength: 210. Defense: 387. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 2100. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity, 12 Talisman, Magical Craftsmanship, Pride, Feast. Magic: Fire Element Summoning, proficient in the first ring of Fire Magic, proficient in the second ring of Fire Magic of Fire. Evil points: 4600. 4006 evil points. What are you waiting for? Start pumping. Caesar clicks to draw. Among the stars. Colorful starlight surged in the sky, and the next moment, it headed straight towards his eyes. Congratulations to the host for drawing green items and 100 copies of Life Potion. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing a white item, a round of paper towels. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing a blue item and a magic book. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing. Congratulations to the host for drawing a golden item and successfully overcoming the bloodline of the Sky Comet Dragon. Closing square bracket. Ding. It is detected that the bloodline of the host, the world-destroying Crimson Dragon, and the weird overcoming Heavenly Comet Dragon are in conflict, and the bloodlines of the two begin to merge. Ding. Congratulations to the host bloodline for completing the advancement, the world-destroying Crimson Sky Comet Dragon. Closing square bracket. Caesar's wings underwent earth-shaking changes. The wings originally covered with thorns opened in an instant, and the wing membrane became thicker. The front row still looked like thorns, and the back row was close to the dragon's membrane. Small holes in the shape of a double helix grew out one after another, and rows of small holes appeared at the ends of the wing bones, just like the tail nozzle of a flying fighter jet. And he had a feeling that he could transfer the elemental magic power in his body to the small hole behind his wing bone step by step through his blood vessels. How about giving it a try? Think of this. Caesar decided to give it a try. The elemental magic power in the body began to be transmitted to the dragon wings regularly. The originally dark red dragon wings were washed away by the elemental magic power. In the dark night, it becomes brighter and brighter, and the dazzling red light is like a rising sun, illuminating the surrounding environment. Sudden changes. Some monsters and humans who were not asleep yet poked their heads out curiously and looked at the red dragon emperor. It seems like you can. Fly. Caesar subconsciously increased the magic power transmission. Next moment, boom. The deafening sonic boom produced a huge roar, causing traces of blood to flow from the ears of the surrounding monsters and tearing their eardrums. At this moment, Nishizawa was like a red comet rising from the ground, reversing its direction and shooting straight into the sky. The flames ejected from behind the tailbone are like the tail flames of a fighter jet, pushing Caesar straight into the sky without any need to flap his wings. The ground washed by the flames turned into pieces of hot lava, shining with a hot red light. The strong wind howled in Caesar's ears, suddenly exceeding the speed of sound, making Caesar unable to control his body at this moment. It's so fast. If this is coupled with the free spell. Caesar couldn't believe it. A red comet streaked across the night sky, briefly illuminating the dark forest below. It makes countless beasts and creatures worship it, thinking that it is the presence of gods. The bright red comet dragged its long tail flame and flew freely in the sky. The elemental magic power continued to spray out, making Caesar's speed faster and faster. Think of this. The outline of the rabbit talisman was outlined in Nishizawa's dark red dragon eyes. It can be faster. Woohoo. Caesar's speed was so fast that he couldn't believe it at this moment. It's so fast. The angle of view in front of me is constantly increasing, but fortunately there are no obstacles in the sky. Otherwise, Caesar himself would be a little unable to control such a fast speed. At such a speed, it is impossible for any creature on the entire continent to be able to surpass itself. Unless it's God himself. Having said that, he may have forgotten one thing, that is, there is Ilenia and Carolina waiting for him in bedrock. Layer rock. Boom. The powerful body of the world-destroying Crimson Sky Comet Dragon hit the ground, causing the hard sandstone to shatter directly, and countless sand and soil flew out. The impact of the impact is like the impact ripples of turbulent sea water. The loud noise that shook the earth caused Ilenia, who was hiding in the dragon's lair, to come out immediately. Who else but the red dragon could have caused such a movement in the layer of rocks? As soon as she poked her head out, the debris falling from the sky made Ilenia hurriedly hide back in the dragon's lair to prevent her head from being smashed by the rocks falling from the sky. The area where Nishizawa hit formed a huge lava pit. The originally yellow-brown sandstone turned red under the violent impact and high-temperature friction. With the blood of the two giant dragons, Caesar could land safely without getting hurt even without using the power of the horse charm at this moment. Strong dragon scales are his best armor. After a while, Ilenia finally came out. When she saw Zeisa's new figure, her eyes widened in surprise and she subconsciously covered her mouth. It's only been a few days. This giant dragon has actually undergone earth-shaking changes again. I can't imagine how high this giant dragon can climb if Nishizawa is given a few more years. The dragon becomes stronger, which means that his road to revenge becomes increasingly slim. In addition to Ilenia, there were also some monsters that were unable to fight in the layer of rock. They all came out and knelt down towards Caesar. Ilenia, let's go. I will take you away from here. There are other monsters, follow me. This is no longer our stronghold. Caesar came this time to take everyone away. The walled town of Cordo is the most suitable new base for the fourth natural disaster. It also saves you time wasting on building. Get out of here. Ilenia immediately guessed that the human town was probably. Really, there are no surprises. There was no way that human town could withstand the dragon's attack. Originally, it was just an evil dragon. Now there is an additional adult blue dragon Dilla. What can the human town do to resist? Holy Lord, what's wrong with Caroline? Ilenia reminded. There is also a sleeping white dragon on the layer rock. It is worth mentioning that there is forbidden magic. As long as the magic isn't broken, The noise caused by Caesar outside would not disturb the sleeping Carolina. Unless the forbidden magic arranged outside is destroyed. It makes sense. If you wake her up now, her advancement may fail, and it will take several more years to fall asleep again. Leave her here, I will arrange some monsters to guard her around here. Caesar rubbed his chin, decided not to wake Carolina. If the dragon is awakened from its advanced slumber, it will take several years before it can enter its slumber. Just keep some monsters around. It's a pity that Carolina fell asleep too early. Otherwise, Caesar can let Carolina hide and sleep in the cave where Dilla used to be. It is generally impossible for any creature to step into such a deep cave. If I didn't have the ability of 12 talismans, I would never enter without permission. Guard her, okay. Lilia had a good impression of Carolina. After all, Carolina looks harmless. He didn't even touch her. It was the fact that she ate the corpse of her companion that made Lilia a little unacceptable. But compared with Caesar's behavior, what did Carolina do? 3 days later, the news that the small town of Cordo was destroyed by the Dragon Legion soon reached the ears of Lebio City. The city of Lebio quickly issued a notice asking some foreign caravans not to go to the town of Cordo. If they came to do business, they should avoid it. When Caesar knew that the monsters had captured some businessmen, he was very angry and specially reprimanded Was. Let him pass on his orders. If there are still human caravans passing by in the future, you can tell those caravans that the town of Cordo can be used as their transit rest stop. The fourth disaster promised not to attack them. As a stopping point, Nishizawa charges some fees, which is very reasonable. Although killing this group of businessmen and snatching their gold coins is more time-saving and labor-saving. But doing so will result in that group of caravans not coming again in the future. Doesn't it mean that if you want to get gold coins next, you have to plunder? What Nishizawa wants to do is sustainable development. Some caravans were frightened by the monsters of the fourth natural disaster when passing through the small town of Cordo. When I learned that I only needed to pay a sum of money, I could spend the night for free in the town of Cordo, and I could also get protection from the fourth natural disaster monsters to avoid the loss of goods. This makes businessmen feel that they are worth their money. You must know that the small town of Cordo is a border city of the Toot Empire, and the order is not that chaotic. It often happens that thieves steal goods while they are sleeping. Now the fourth natural disaster can promise that by paying a sum of money, the integrity of the goods can be guaranteed. How can the businessmen not be happy? With one, there will naturally be a second. The reputation of the small town of Cordo, controlled by the fourth disaster, was quickly wiped out. City of Lebio. The prophecy, is it true? Karen sat on the chair and looked at the daily newspaper in her hand. Her long white hair was tied into a braid and hung down on her shoulders and chest. A real disaster has occurred in the small town of Cordo. The town was conquered by an army of monsters led by an evil dragon. More than tens of thousands of people were killed or injured. If she did not listen to the Holy Lord's prophecy and chose to stay in the small town of Cordo, the consequences would be disastrous. Lord Saintess, the evil dragon in the town of Cordo suddenly appeared. It is very dangerous for us to stay in Lebio City. This city is likely to be the evil dragon's next target. My suggestion is to leave the city of Lebio, go to a safer city, and then slowly plan how to overthrow the Pope. Standing next to Saintess Karen is one of Saintess's followers. After all, Colin herself is a saintess. It's impossible not to have a single follower. Under her plan, the Sun Temple in Lebio City has been captured by her. The clergy here all obey Karen's words. Wait, we will leave after a while, you go and rest first. Colin waved the follower away. The follower nodded, turned around and left to deliver it to the door. As soon as the followers left, Colin whispered, Holy Lord, you are beside me, right? I'm curious, how did you discover me? The bird that Nishizawa turned into appears again. He left his mark on Colin's body, and Colin could not escape his sight for a short time. You can find her wherever she is hiding. Intuition, I always feel that there is an eye nearby watching me, and among the people I know, only you, the Holy Lord, have this ability. Colin smiled softly. Sometimes her intuition is spot on. Otherwise, it would be impossible to escape from the Temple of the Sun in the imperial capital all the way to the border and avoid the pursuit of the Pope's people. How about it, Karen? My prediction came true. Caesar fell in love with this Karen saintess. He must get this woman. I really want to see Karen's depravity. I don't understand, Holy Lord, since you knew that this kind of thing would happen in the town of Cordo, why didn't you tell me in advance so that I could organize the evacuation of the people? Colin said confused. I told you, Karen, there's going to be a disaster in the town of Cordo, isn't it? Caesar asked rhetorically. Yes, the Holy Lord did say that. It's just that Colin herself had doubts at the time. Relying on her knowledge and intuition about the Holy Lord, she subconsciously decided to come to Tabio to see the situation. Who would have thought that the prophecy that the Holy Lord thought of would be such an evil dragon attack? If the evil dragon attacks the town of Cordo, the Toot Empire will definitely send an imperial army to suppress it. If the evil dragon continues to stay in the town of Cordo, the only thing waiting for him is death. Colin believed in the power of the empire. If the empire wasn't strong, it would have been taken down by monsters long ago. What if this evil dragon is also very powerful? Caesar chuckled. So what if the evil dragon is powerful? I've read the intelligence. There are 2 evil dragons that appeared this time, one red and one blue. They are both adult dragons. The 2 5-color dragons helping each other are indeed very powerful, but the 5-color dragons have forgotten that there are divine weapon owners and legendary figures on the human side. Colin shook her head, expressing disdain for evil dragons. If the Toot Empire really calls for the owners of the divine weapon, commonly known as brave men and legends, there will be absolutely no way for the evil dragon to survive. You are right, Colin, but you have forgotten one thing, that is, the Toot Empire will never do that. Caesar flapped his wings and landed on Colin's shoulder. Why? Colin didn't understand. His own border town was destroyed. Wouldn't the Toot Empire be angry and send strong men? You are still young, Colin, and inexperienced. It is normal not to think about that. Anyway, just watch, the Empire will not send the people you said. But there is one thing. Someone with more authority and fame will definitely be sent to appease the people of Lebio City. Caesar finished. Just end today's conversation with Karen with 927. Disappeared on Colin's shoulder. Colin was lost in thought. Thinking about what Caesar said. She couldn't understand. Is the Empire really that generous? Are you willing to give up the town of Cordo to the dragon? Cordo town. Monster leaders gathered in the dragon's lair. They are reporting on the recent situation. Your Majesty, since our new rules were promulgated, more and more businessmen have begun to live in the town and paid a lot of money. Was directed 2 jackals to push a cart filled with gold and silver jewelry to the red dragon. It must be said that humans are very good at doing business. Some smart businessmen wanted to please Caesar. Not only did they give some gold coins, but also some precious jewelry to express their respect to Caesar. I hope to win the favor of the dragon. Red Dragon is the master of this 4th natural disaster. By making Red Dragon happy, they can feel more at ease in the town. As for whether this red dragon will be driven away or hunted by the Empire, this is not something that the businessman has to think about. If the red dragon is killed, they will have nothing to lose. This is businessman. It should have been done a long time ago. I said, everything must be done step by step, don't cut off the roots all at once. Caesar grabbed the gold coins in the cart. The golden coins clattered, and the golden light shone in the lair. This made Caesar, the red dragon, even more happy. What a beautiful thing. No wonder human dragons like it very much. With a wave of his paw, all the gold and silver jewelry came to Zai's system space. It is better to put it in your own system space to give people the most peace of mind and prevent it from being stolen. Even though it was placed in the dragon's lair, no monster dared to do this. But Caesar still thought it would be better to do this. Yes, Your Majesty the Holy Lord, what you are saying is that your endless wisdom is beyond our comparison. We can only continue to follow your footsteps and keep learning. In front of you, we are still just newborn children. Waz grinned. While belittling himself, he elevated Caesar. Caesar was very helpful and said with a smile, "Is there anything else?" "That's right, Your Majesty, the name of the town of Cordo is really terrible. I think since this town is illuminated by your glory, then a name must be changed to reflect the dominance of the 4th natural disaster, and our 4th natural disaster flag has not yet been designed." Waz said, "Names and flags are both important to the current 4th natural disaster. Even the tribes of monsters have their own totems. The fourth natural disaster established by His Majesty the Holy Lord is even more necessary. This can give monsters a greater sense of belonging and honor. Leave it to Elenia to design the name and flag. I'm too lazy to think about it. Caesar looked at Elenia next to him. Give it to me. Elenia said in surprise. Leave this matter to yourself. Are you sure this evil dragon is right? She is an elf and your enemy. If you didn't have those things in your hands, she would have committed suicide or fought with Caesar. Of course, Elenia, I have always regarded you as my woman. Nishizawa smiled evilly. Don't. Stop dreaming. There is no way I can be your woman, let alone, you still treat me like this. Elenia took a step back, bit her lower lip gently and said. She only hates Caesar. You don't understand, Elenia, this is my love for you. I did this because I really love you too much and am afraid of losing you. Caesar leaned down and whispered in Elenia's ear. Started my own pua. Love me too much. Are you afraid of losing me? Elenia was confused by Caesar's words. Is this really the case? She always felt a little unbelievable. I didn't feel any love from Caesar. No, except physically. Caesar didn't say any more. The rest was left to Elenia to continue thinking about. I hope Elenia can expose herself to a little more evil and not fall into depravity so quickly. Otherwise he will be very disappointed. Half a month later. The order from the Toot Empire has come down. The royal family knew about the evil dragon's behavior and angrily scolded the evil dragon for his shameless behavior. At the same time, he also appeased the people and told them that they would send a duke. He personally led 100,000 imperial soldiers to support Lebio City and help Lebio City resist the threat of the dragon. At the same time, accompanying the duke was Princess Freya, who was attracting much attention from the Toot Empire. Princess Freya, a loyal believer of the sun god, wants to come to the dangerous city of Lebio in person. Got the news. Lebio City, which was originally panicked, suddenly became calm. Everyone is thinking that since Her Royal Highness the Princess is here, why is there any danger in the food market? Moreover, the addition of 100,000 imperial soldiers will definitely protect Lebio City. This moment, no one thought about avenging the soldiers who died in the small town of Cordo. They just want some stability. The Holy Lord was right again. Colin put down the daily newspaper in her hand. He rubbed his temples with a headache. Does it seem like the Empire has given up on fighting the dragon for the town of Cordo? No, I made a mistake, it should be Andrew City. This is the name Elenia changed. The flag of the fourth disaster is the image outlined by Nishizawa's stalwart figure. Point 0. Since the Empire has no intention of taking back Andrew's city, it also has no intention of taking the initiative to attack the evil dragon. Colin was ready to leave Lebio City. She didn't understand. Why would such a powerful empire choose to hand over Andrew's city? Aren't there brave men and legends? Andrew's city. There are businessmen joining. The city in Nishizawa is actually more lively than the small town of Cordo. Because more and more businessmen know that the evil dragon that occupies this area can protect your safety and goods as long as you provide a sum of money. This is something that the small town of Cordo has not been able to do before. Especially here, you don't have to worry about being attacked by anyone. As long as you pay money, any fight will belong to the fourth natural disaster monster management. Someone had been fighting in the street before and was surrounded by a group of monsters and eaten. Although doing this at first made some caravans afraid to come, gradually more and more people fell in love with it. No matter how much hatred there is out there, as long as you come here, everything can return to peace. The fourth plague will protect you. With the addition of the caravan, the fourth natural disaster also attracted many humans who wanted to take the initiative to settle in Andrew's city. Waz specifically asked Caesar for instructions, and Caesar said there was no problem. He welcomes any race to join. Everyone here does not discriminate and respect each other, as long as you are strong enough. Even if you are a human, you can rule monsters. During this period of time, Caesar himself was developing relationships with Dilla and Elenia. On this very day, Lilia brought good news to Caesar. Lilia was completely designated as the next saintess by the Church of Radiance, and the handover ceremony would be held in 3 days. When the time comes, saintess will take the initiative to abdicate. This made Caesar a little surprised that saintess would retreat so decisively. You know the status of saintess is self-evident in the church, but would anyone give up so decisively? Caesar was worried about a conspiracy. Lilia, who possesses the angel template, is very powerful, but her mind is still immature and she is easily deceived. So he gave Lilia a few words, hoping that Lilia would pay attention. Saintess Karen in Lebio city set out again, taking her followers with her to leave the city and go to other cities. Prepare to deal with the Pope's supporters from the outside to the inside, and finally go to the Temple of the Sun in the imperial capital to confront the Pope. This is Colin's plan. One time when Nishizawa came, this Colin actually told her her plan, and she seemed to already believe in herself. Although Colin's intuition was still telling her that this Holy Lord was very dangerous. But the only person who can believe now is this mysterious Holy Lord. She didn't care about the existence of the Holy Lord. I just hope there is a tree hole to release my inner depression. Avicen Empire. Glorious Church. Miss Lilia, Lord Saintess and Lord Pope asked you to go to the church temple. They said they need to tell you some things about inheriting the position of Saintess. Belinda informed. Well, I understand. Lilia nodded. Looking for herself at this moment. Remembering her master's instructions, she felt the power of her body. Lilia is ready to show her power and kill Saintess and the Pope. Also looking at the strength, arrived. You're here, Lilia. As soon as she stepped into the temple, Lilia met Saintess and the Pope. The two of them were still like this, one standing and the other sitting. Lord Saintess, Lord Pope. Lilia said hello. At the same time, she was observing the surroundings, and there was a warning from her master Nishizawa. Although she had the power to crush the opponent, she was very cautious to avoid traps. Lilia, you are about to take over my position. It's time to tell you the truth. Saintess said softly. The truth. Lilia was stunned. Is there anything else she doesn't know about the Radiant Church? The Pope glanced at Saintess, and with Saintess's nod, he stood up and said, Miss Lilia, what you are going to say next may make you a little disappointed in us. I hope that after you know the truth, even if you hate us, you will not tell the matter. We have no choice. City of Lebio, I want to leave here, Holy Lord. Thank you for your company during this time. With you by my side, I feel relaxed. Karen sat on the chair, holding her smooth chin in her hand. The soft and warm sunshine shone on her face, bathing her whole body in it, like a goddess accompanying the holy light, descending into the world. I've said it from the beginning, we are friends. Karen, where are you going? Caesar asked. With the blessing of his current bloodline, wherever Colin goes in the Toot Empire, he can reach the sky quickly. Holy Lord, don't you know how to predict? Why don't you predict where I am going? Colin teased. My predictions can only predict big events. Joke. How could Caesar predict? If I can really predict, I still need to stay in Andrew's city to see what happens. I have followed the prophecy a long time ago. The last prophecy was because the leader was himself. Predicting big events. Then Holy Lord, can you predict that my future will be successful? Nishizawa was the person to whom Colin confided her feelings the most. So Caesar knew exactly what happened to Colin. He knew everything about Colin's own situation. Your future is destined to fail, but Karen, as long as you are willing to accept my power, your future will be successful. Caesar said, Holy Lord, to be honest, I really doubt whether you are a demon in the abyss, and you never confuse me to accept your power. Colin smiled helplessly. As for whether the Holy Lord is a devil or not, Colin knew this very well. The Holy Lord was not a demon. As early as before, Colin had specifically used the Sun Temple's technique to identify demons. Obviously, the complete set of pictures. After all, Caesar's true identity is a giant dragon. How could the magic used to identify demons be able to identify a dragon like him? I am not a low-level existence like a devil, Colin. No matter what, you are always welcome to seek my help. The Holy Lord is so sure that I will come to you. Is this a prophecy? It's intuition. Ha ha ha. Karen was so teased by Caesar that she couldn't help but laugh out loud, and the light laughter like the sound of nature lingered in the room. Just like the chirping of spiritual birds in the valley, it is sweet and sweet. Oh, I really didn't expect it. Holy Lord, you were right. The Empire did not choose to attack the town occupied by the evil dragon. It just sent the Duke and Princess Freya to appease the people. Colin shook her head and sighed. Sending these two people here shows that the Empire has no idea of conquering the evil dragon. I just want to defend Lebio City blindly. Caesar was not surprised at all. Although the human empire is powerful, the greatest thing about mankind is itself. There are two empire-level beings in the surrounding area, eyeing him eagerly. If the Toot Empire starts a war with the evil dragon, our heroes and legends will be injured. The other two empires will take advantage of it. This is not what the Toot Empire wants to see. So even if the town of Cordo is abandoned, it will be good for the empire. Unless Caesar intensifies his efforts at this moment and continues to expand, the empire will not have any impact on Caesar in a short time. The fourth natural disaster, which had just experienced a great battle and suffered heavy losses, really needed a good rest. Many monster leaders died. If Alistar hadn't saved him personally, the Tauren would have died. Now what Caesar does every day is to wake up early in the morning and use rat charms and monkey charms to create batches of monster warriors. When the magic points are exhausted, chat with Colin and cultivate emotions. Otherwise, I would look for Ilenia and Dilla to consolidate their relationship. You are leaving. Noticing the Holy Lord leaving her shoulder, Colin asked curiously. It seems that the Duke and Princess Freya you mentioned have arrived. Caesar flew to the window. Arrive. Karen quickly stood up and came to the window, looking down. I saw that the streets were filled with dense crowds of people at some point. Everyone was cheering enthusiastically and holding banners high. Two noble men riding horses smiled and waved their hands towards the surrounding people. Princess Freya. She has distinctive pink hair. Legend has it that she was blessed by the gods when she was born, so she has this pink hair. As charming and dazzling as a pink rose. The green eyes are like two gems, extremely beautiful and eye-catching. The pure white dress symbolizes Freya's holiness. As we all know, Princess Freya is the gentlest princess in the Toot Empire. She is also a loyal believer of the sun god in the Sun Temple. The kind that reaches a level of fanaticism. The rosy mouth raised slightly to reveal a faint smile. At this moment, Freya was like a bright star held in the stars, being admired and watched by everyone. Her confident and gentle smile has attracted countless men and women to fall in love with her. Beautiful Princess Freya. Look at me. Princess Freya is so beautiful. This is the princess of our empire. I didn't expect that Lebio City would be so dangerous, and Princess Freya would still come. She is really a kind and gentle princess. Why can't such Princess Freya get the gift from the gods? The world is so unfair. Upstairs, these people are obsessed with this Princess Freya. Even Caesar didn't expect this princess to be so popular. Well, Princess Freya is a fanatical believer of the sun god. She is known as the most gentle and approachable princess in the history of the empire. Some people even regard her as the next queen. Colin introduced Freya's situation. When she was a saintess, this princess often came to the center of the Sun Temple to pray to the sun god. Every day, never absent. Her appearance, Caesar whispered. It's like an old friend. It's beautiful, isn't it? Karen praised sincerely. Freya looks really beautiful. She is a beautiful person with a kind heart, and she is a princess, so she will naturally be popular among the people of the empire. Not as beautiful as you, Karen. If you say that, I will take it seriously. The two joked about it. Then he continued. Does this Princess Freya have a younger sister? Caesar asked curiously. As expected of the Holy Lord, did you predict all this? Princess Freya does have a sister named Lila, who is the true owner of the divine weapon. When mentioning Lila, Colin's tone became more serious. As a divine weapon owner, even if she does not have the status of a princess, Lila will be a very important figure in the empire. Divine weapon. Didn't you say there has been no miracle for a long time? Caesar didn't know anything about the human empire. After all information about the continent comes from the dragon inheritance in his mind. It seems it's time for Dragon Legacy to be updated. This divine weapon came to the Toot Empire very early. Since the death of the first generation of brave men, there has been no user of the divine weapon. If you want to use divine weapon, you must obtain divine weapon's approval. This Princess Lila is the second user approved by divine weapon. It is worth mentioning that this Princess Lila does not believe in the sun god, but the divine weapon was given by the sun god. It is very magical. On the contrary, Princess Freya, who is a fanatical believer of the sun god, has not been recognized by divine weapon. With the incident involving the Pope, Colin herself lost faith in this so-called sun god. Now her purpose is simple, to overthrow the Pope. As for what happened next, she didn't want to think too much about it. Interesting, thank you for telling me so much, Karen. What does this mean? We are friends, as you said. Colin smiled sweetly. She wanted to reach out and touch the feathers on Caesar's body, but Caesar decisively avoided her. He is a dragon. How could I let this little girl touch her feathers? Colin pouted. If you don't touch, don't touch. I don't need it yet. Andreu's city. Caesar returned to his territory and resumed his dragon form. This month has passed. Nishizawa's body shape changed again, reaching 30 meters. Being so fast and not having to pay for it by sleeping, Dilla was so greedy. He pestered Shizi every day, hoping that Shishang could teach him this ability. Facing Delina's request, Caesar refused. Not to mention that he wouldn't do it, even if he wanted to, the feast talent couldn't be transferred. Unless Caesar takes the initiative to abandon the feast and give the feast to Dilla, the layers stacked up in this way will disappear directly. So this is not possible. Dilla could only watch helplessly as Caesar grew bigger day by day. Disguise your own notoriety, make the hypocrisy of the 5-color dragon famous, and get 100 evil points. Closing square bracket. Is this possible? Caesar was a little surprised. I thought that my recent performance would not gain evil points. Unexpectedly, pretending to be kind and deceiving foreigners can also gain evil points. Master, I have told you one thing rightly. The saintess and the Pope of the Glory Church really do not have so-called magical powers. Their magical powers are all lies. At this time, Lilia's soft voice reached Caesar's ears. Lilia, who was far away in the Avicen Empire, told Caesar the news. Not long ago, saintess and the Pope came to her and told her the truth. The miracle of the goddess of glory has not come for a long time, in order to prevent believers from losing their lofty faith in the goddess. This saintess and the Pope decided to deceive believers. Let believers mistakenly think that they possess magical powers, so as not to lose their faith in the goddess. When saintess tested whether Lilia had the power of radiance in her body, she was just putting pressure on Lilia. If it was fake, Lilia would most likely admit her mistake under this pressure. Fortunately, there was Caesar standing behind her. Caesar's words kept Lilia calm and did not reveal any flaws. Later, it was Caesar who gave Lilia the angel template, confirming the fact that Lilia was favored by the power of light. Well, by the way, Lilia, where is this saintess of the glorious church planning to go after she leaves office? Caesar thought of something interesting. He is very greedy for this saintess. If you can be saintess, you must be pretty. Ms. Saintess said that after leaving office, she plans to travel around, maybe find a lover to get married and have children, or she may die alone in a quiet and beautiful place. Lilia is unsure of Saint's future. This was what Master Saintess told her personally. Sitting in the position of Saintess, you have to pretend that you have magical powers, not only to deceive believers, but most importantly to deceive Tianya. Fortunately everything worked out. Now that she has an heir, Lilia, Saintess can finally relax. She is really tired. Lilia, I have something that I need you to leave. Say it, Master. Bring this Saintess before me. Bring her to, But Master, you are far away from me, how can I trick her into getting there? Lilia found this plan difficult to implement. Isn't the Master in the Toot Empire? With such a long distance, it would be difficult to trick Saintess into seeing her master. Come on, Lilia, you just need to trick Saintess into coming outside the city. I'll be waiting for you outside the city. Quote. Nishizawa is very fast now. Traveling between the two empires is easy. The forbidden magic set up by humans can only restrict the altitude of tens of thousands of meters. At worst, he will fly higher and better, to a place where you humans cannot detect him. Then rely on your own monkey talisman and snake talisman, and no one can discover you. I understand, please leave it to me. Lilia nodded in agreement. She belongs to her master wholeheartedly and does things without any hesitation. She is no longer the Lilia who was willing to sacrifice herself for her companions. Now she is Lilia, the master's slave. Followers of the dragon. After communicating with Lilia, Caesar woke up Dillina beside him. "What are you doing again?" Dillina said while lying on the pile of gold coins. All the gold coins collected previously were taken out by Zeiss and placed under the two giant dragons to use as soft mattresses. Both dragons felt very satisfied. "I need to go out for a while, Dillina. Next, you and Waz will be in charge of Andrew's city." Nishizawa warned. "I didn't let Dillina dominate because I was afraid that Dillina's brain would not work well. Among all the monsters, the only one who is strong and clever is Waz, the jackal. Obi's brain is not bad, but his strength is a bit lacking." "Going out, yeah, I understand, you really believe that wild dog and give him such great power." Dillina was a little unhappy. "I am a member of Caesar's family, doesn't Caesar still believe in me?" "It's not that I don't believe you, Dillina, it's just that I'm afraid you'll do something impulsive," Caesar said angrily. If Dillina could make herself less worried, would he still do this? It's not that Dillina didn't let herself worry too much. Dillina didn't care. As a native dragon, her thinking is very different from Zeiss's. It will take a long time for Caesar to change her stubborn thinking. The other side. Waz received the news from Caesar and promised that Andreas' city would be in good order and there would never be any problems. It was Waz who reassured Caesar. A few days later. Avicen Empire. A major event occurred in the Radiant Church. Miss Lilia, who possesses the power of brilliance, officially takes over the position from saintess. In the glorious Holy Temple, countless high-ranking church personnel of the Glory Church all raised their heads and looked at the stairs above. At this moment, Lilia was wearing a bright white saintess dress, dragging her long skirt up the stairs step by step. Belinda, the knight beside her, followed behind her. The dignified and beautiful saintess sat in her seat and looked at Lilia tenderly, as if she were looking at her own child. Lilia, from now on, you will be the new saintess of the Glory Church. May glory illuminate your direction. Saintess handed Lilia the glorious holy sword that symbolized saintess's status. Lilia bent her waist slightly and took the holy sword with both hands. With the power of an angel, she could tell at a glance that this was just an ordinary sword. It is completely different from the divine weapon in the rumors of the Glory Church. Could it be that even the Holy Sword of Glory is fake? Lilia's surprised eyes flashed away, replaced by firm eyes. Please rest assured, Lord Saintess, the Glory Church will become brighter under the radiance of the goddess, leading the lost lambs to find the way to the Glory Temple. So far, Lilia officially takes over the position of Saintess. With the power of the angel template, she is a well-deserved saintess of the glorious church. There was no rebuttal from any senior executive. She raised the glorious holy sword high and faced the people at the bottom of the steps. The power contained in the body emitted brilliance, gradually surrounding the dull radiant holy sword. Next moment, the holy sword burst out with a dazzling golden light, attracting praise from countless people below. This is a miracle. A miracle. After many years, the glorious holy sword has found its owner again. Lilia Saintess. Lilia Saintess. Lilia Saintess. We will always follow you. Follow your footsteps and chase the glory. The believers are extremely fanatical. Shout loudly. Saintess looked at Lilia's back and showed a warm smile. I hope that Lilia, this child, can really bring the church, preach the church to the entire continent, and praise the glory. The Pope touched his chin beard with joy. Lilia Saintess, who has the true power of brilliance, is the qualified saintess of the church. Late at night, the glorious church held a carnival dinner. After drinking some wine, Lilia's face turned red and she met her predecessor Saintess, who was alone and drunk. Lilia Saintess, why did you come to me? Saintess's original name was Modesty. Like all Saintess students, she stood out among 100 successors. Became a saintess of the glorious church. But after becoming saintess, she discovered it. It turns out that the so-called divine magic is all fake. It is just a fake trick used by successive popes and saintesses to stabilize believers. Perhaps divine magic really existed once, but now, it no longer exists, and the goddess of glory has long ceased to show her brilliance. That moment, Modesty's faith almost collapsed. She wanted to escape and refuse. But the Pope said that if others knew about this, the Glory Church would cease to exist. All those who rely on their faith in the Goddess of Glory to survive, will they still choose to live when their faith collapses? Modesty, who had figured this out, just like every generation of saintess, chose to sit in this position and hide all this from the Pope. Now the Church has finally welcomed a saintess who truly has the power of brilliance. Modesty was very happy. The joy and pressure were released together, and she decided to leave the Glory Church tonight and no longer hold any position in the Glory Church. She no longer has to pretend, she can drink as much as she wants and use alcohol to numb herself. Rather than hiding in the middle of the night crying alone, crying and begging for help from gods who can't hear their voices. You are drunk, Master Saintess. Lilia opened the door and saw Modesty lying on the ground and said. With her plump and delicate body lying on the ground, coupled with the way she swayed casually, I'm afraid no man could control her. Such a sinful body. She has a much better figure than Lilia. Lilia Saintess, you are Saintess, just call me Modesty, or call me Sister Modesty, haha. Modesty was indeed drunk, but she hasn't completely lost her mind yet. Speech is clear, but the tone of speaking is a bit breathy. She is very tired. Then I will call you Sister Modesty. I have something to come to you for. Lilia took off the soft gauze shawl that was wrapped around her body, squatted down, helped Modesty up, and placed her on the sofa. Something happened. What happened? Modesty shook her head. When she heard that something was coming to her, she immediately released a purification spell for herself. Removed the influence of alcohol on myself. Although she has no magical powers, she is still a saintess. Studying the priesthood. The level is a holy priest, which is only one step away from the legendary priest who can resurrect the dead. It is with such strong qualifications that Modesty can stand out and become saintess. The influence of the alcohol was gone, and the blush on Modesty's face was much lessened. She sat upright and elegantly and waited quietly for Lilia's words. It's like this, Sister Modesty. During the morning ceremony, I discovered that this so-called glorious holy sword was actually just an ordinary sword. Lilia was thinking about how to trick Modesty out of the city. If we were in the city, it would be difficult for the employer to take Bow Daisy Mian away. I almost forgot. Before I had time to tell you, the holy sword of glory was stolen when I succeeded to the throne. Stolen. Lilia originally wanted to find an opportunity to trick Modesty out. Unexpectedly, I got this unexpected result. The divine weapon of the Radiant Church was stolen. Doesn't it mean that the Radiant Church has become the only church among the 3 imperial churches that lacks the divine weapon? Yes, with such a scandal, it is impossible for the Radiant Church to spread the news. Fortunately, the person who stole the divine weapon did not publicize it, so this matter has always been a secret. Modesty sighed. When he took office, there are really problems everywhere, and many troubles need to be dealt with personally. It's strange that there isn't much pressure. Who stole it? Lilia asked curiously. Is there anyone who can steal Saint's personal glorious holy sword without being caught? This is something that happened to the previous saintess. I don't know much about it either. I only know that after that incident, the previous saintess became depressed and fell asleep forever. Modesty said, just because divine weapon can't be used doesn't mean you can't have it. Once outsiders learn that the glory holy sword is missing, the status of the glory church will plummet. So absolutely no one can know. I understand. By the way, Sister Modesty, since you are sober, why don't we go out for a walk? Lilia suggested. Going out for a walk. It's so late, where should we go? Modesty asked curiously. Outside the city, I have something I want to talk to Sister Modesty about. Secret. Well, I believe Sister Modesty won't tell it, but no one else can know, just in case I have to take you out of the city. You can use sound isolation techniques. It's easy to crack. It's safer outside the city. All right. Modesty finally agreed to Lilia's request. At the same time she herself was curious. What secret did Lilia want to tell herself? To be so cautious, is there any secret more serious than the fact that he and the Pope possess false magic and the disappearance of the divine weapon? Outside, as soon as Lilia took Modesty out, Belinda immediately came up and said, Master Saintess, and Master Modesty, where are you going so late? I plan to take Sister Modesty out for a walk. Lilia explained. Go out, I want to follow. Belinda's duty is to protect Lilia. No need, Belinda, don't forget, I'm very strong. Lilia shook her head and smiled. She had fought Belinda before. Although she is not Belinda's opponent yet, her strength is almost the same. I believe that when the template progress improves, Lilia's strength will surpass Belinda. No, Lord Saintess, I am your guardian knight. The knight and saintess are inseparable. Belinda DACF shook her head stubbornly. Belinda, look at this. Lady Modesty, As soon as Belinda turned around to look, Modesty waved her hand gently in front of her, and a faint purple mist rushed towards her face. Belinda felt her consciousness become blurred for a moment. It's like a dream. Can't tell true from false. Knight Belinda, it's time for you to go to Saint's room to protect Saintess. She is resting. Modesty chuckled. Yes, I have to. I have to go to Lady Saintess's room to protect Lady Saintess at night. Belinda shook her head. Then he walked past Lilia with clear eyes and went straight to the room where Lilia was resting. Lilia was shocked by Modesty's methods. As expected of Saintess, there are so many ways. A little trick used to confuse people. I often use this thing to temporarily confuse others. I have magical powers. Modesty still felt a little emotional when she mentioned this. Fortunately, there is no need to lie like this from now on. I see. Lilia suddenly realized. It seems that I want to remind the master that this Modesty Saintess still has this method. Let's go, Lilia Saintess. Belinda is a powerful knight after all. She will wake up soon. Okay. Outside the imperial capital, Modesty and Lilia left very easily. With his identity here, the soldiers guarding the city didn't dare to stop him. The two of them headed towards the forest outside. As it went deeper and deeper, even some monsters appeared, but they were all easily solved by Lilia using the false radiant holy sword. Lilia Saintess, it should be okay to get here, right? No need to go too deep. Modesty suddenly had a bad feeling and stopped in her tracks. Even if you really have a secret to tell yourself, it's impossible to go into such a deep jungle. Why don't you keep going? Lilia held up the radiant holy sword, stopped and turned around to ask. Lilia Saintess, what do you want to say? Just say it quickly. Modesty observed the surrounding environment. Lilia shouldn't do anything to herself, right? There is no conflict of interest between her and Lilia. Besides, her relationship with Lilia has always been very good, and Lilia will most likely not hurt herself. Okay, let's stop here. Actually, I also have a secret. Sister Modesty, the power of light in my body, is also fake. What? You're fake too? As soon as these words came out, Modesty's face was full of shock and she stared at Lilia in disbelief. Are you kidding? It's impossible. Your glorious power is real. I have never seen it with my own eyes. Modesty thought Lilia might be joking. The power is real, but Sister Modesty, the power of radiance is not. This power of mine was given to me by the master, and it is not the so-called goddess of radiance. Lilia explained with a slight smile. Owner, Modesty was even more surprised. Does Lilia still have a master? When did this happen? No, as a divine and dignified saintess, a human traveler of the radiant goddess, how could she have a master? Modesty stepped back step by step until a deep and deep voice reached her ears. What a beautiful saintess! The rich voice made Modesty's delicate body tremble, and she turned her head suddenly. The pupils shrank, and the beautiful eyes were frightened. As the power of the snake talisman dissipated, the figure of a giant red dragon gradually appeared in front of Modesty's eyes. The vast dragon power rippled from Ziza's body, causing Modesty to fall into a daze and her eyes turned white. Modesty almost fainted and fell to the ground. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Modesty released the spell for herself, which forcibly cheered her up a bit. She glanced at Lilia, and then at the vicious red dragon in front of her. It is unimaginable that this dragon belongs to a group. First meeting, Modesty Saintess, I am Lilia's master, Caesar Fafnir Radon Nidhogg. Perhaps you don't know the name, but you must have heard about the evil dragon that attacked Melee Town and occupied the town of Cordo in the Toot Empire. Modesty collapsed on the ground, and she understood at this moment. It turns out that from beginning to end, it was all a play between Lilia and the dragon. The saintess who drives away the evil dragon in Melee Town is all fake. Even Lilia's powerful radiant power was given to Lilia by the evil dragon using some special means. I'm sorry, Sister Modesty, I must have disappointed you. Lilia put her hands behind her back, tilted her head slightly, and showed a sweet smile. But this smile became so cold and evil in Modesty's eyes. There is no trace of the warmth of the past. Lilia, you are committing suicide. You obviously have this kind of power. Why did you write about being with an evil dragon? Modesty felt very sorry, sad. In front of her, Lilia has always been a gentle and beautiful girl, a qualified saintess of the glorious church. In the future, we can take the glorious church to heights that were previously beyond the reach of the church. The results of it. The truth is that Lilia herself is in darkness and runs counter to the light. Willing to fall. You don't understand, Sister Modesty, what is fall? What is freedom? What is justice? There is no clear dividing line in all this. If you help the lamb avoid being hunted by the wolf, wouldn't such justice be harmful to the wolf? Lilia was very smart and told Modesty the story that Caesar had taught her. Modesty, who has been in the position of saintess for a long time, is not as simple and innocent as Lilia was at the beginning. I won't be easily confused by this sentence. Modesty stood up slowly and looked at the evil dragon and Lilia, who were attacking from both sides. She knew that she would not escape death today. Although holy priests have some means of attack and self-protection, there is a huge gap compared with real combatants. The knight who once protected him left his side after he resigned as saintess. The target of everyone's protection has become Lilia saintess. The funny thing is that none of the Yin family knows Lilia's true face. Lilia, you still have a chance to work with me to kill this evil dragon. With your current strength, you can do it. Modesty really felt that it was a pity for Lilia to succumb to the darkness. She wanted Lilia to wake up. As long as she doesn't tell anyone, no one will know Lilia's true face. Lilia can still stand on the position of the glorious saintess, leading the glorious church to the top step by step and bathing in glory. No, Sister Modesty, even if I am in darkness, I can still make the church great with the light. Lilia held the glorious holy sword high and spread her arms. A pair of holy and radiant white wings extended behind him, entering the angelic state. Pure and flawless, sacred and inviolable. Anyone who saw Lilia's posture would never imagine that she was a slave of the evil dragon. Looking at Lilia's face, Modesty felt even more sad. It's all you, evil dragon. If you hadn't bewitched Lilia, Lilia would have been the most proud saintess of the radiant church. Modesty attributed all the sins to the red dragon Caesar. After all, the red dragon, one of the 5 colored dragons, is the evil dragon. This is something that is well known throughout the continent. I bewitched Lilia. Modesty, maybe you didn't understand one thing, everything about Lilia was given by me. If I weren't here, Lilia would still be just an ordinary saintess student in your glorious church. Why? Even when passing through the Casa forest, I would be eaten by a group of monsters, and in the end I would disappear into the background. It was I who gave Lilia a new life. Caesar's words were not wrong. It was indeed him who induced Lilia step by step in the beginning. But what, if he didn't induce Lilia? Lilia would end up with 3 endings. Killed by monsters in Casa forest. Second, he survived but failed to become a saintess and became an ordinary believer in the Church of Glory. Third, she became a saintess, but without the power given by the gods, she could only continue to maintain the ridiculous and hypocritical magic trick. These 3 results are all bad endings for Lilia, none of them are good. Quote. Modesty didn't know what to say. If it is true as the evil dragon said, this emperor was given to Lilia by the evil dragon. Then Lilia will definitely not be able to become a saintess so smoothly. It's almost time. Master, Knight Belinda's control should end soon. If they find that Sister Modesty and I haven't returned yet, we will definitely send someone to look for it. Lilia reminded. Modesty's spell couldn't affect Da for long. If Belinda hadn't been defensive about Modesty and she was so close, Belinda would have easily dodged Modesty's spell. Well, Miss Modesty, I, Caesar, invite you to visit my kingdom. How about it? Caesar stretched out his paw and motioned for Modesty to sit up. Don't even think about it, evil dragon. And Lilia, your actions will be punished by the goddess of radiance. How could Modesty do what Caesar wished for? She would never leave here. That's such a pity, Modesty, but I always like a tough approach. You, what are you going to do? Don't want. The next second, the strong wind swept away the dust and sand, the surrounding treetops flapped wildly, and countless fallen leaves were scattered. The hot fire spread, causing balls of flames to rise. The red comet rising from the ground took modesty away from here. Lilia herself was protected by holy light, which isolated the sandstorm and flames. The light dissipated only after her master left with modesty. Endless points of light spread out, extinguishing the surrounding flames. To avoid causing forest fires, soldiers on the walls of the imperial capital. Everyone breathed listlessly. Look, it's a shooting star. It's true. This must be the miracle of the goddess of glory. Make a wish now. Make a wish. The soldiers only thought that the red thing flying in the sky was a meteor falling from the sky. I started making my own wishes. The imperial capital's defense is the loosest among other cities. After all, the imperial capital must have been attacked, which means that the empire was beaten until only the imperial capital was left. Unlike the soldiers, after waking up, Belinda had a premonition that something bad was going to happen, so she quickly summoned the dragon knights who were not completely drunk, and rode her main dragon to the forest outside the city. Lilia's pale golden brilliance was particularly eye-catching in the dark night, and she was quickly discovered by Belinda. Lilia, saintess, are you okay? Belinda jumped down from the flying dragon from a height of more than 10 meters and quickly came to Lilia. The flying dragon knights behind him fell down. Phylong is a dragon beast with the blood of a giant dragon. It has a high IQ and powerful strength. The dragon knight is difficult, but the flying dragon knight is relatively easy. I'm fine, Belinda. Lilia smiled and shook her head. By the way, where's Miss Modesty? She actually used psychedelia on me. Belinda gritted her teeth. I clearly believe in Miss Modesty so much. She actually did this to herself. A knight who was the personal knight of Lord Saintess was bewitched by magic. This is a huge dereliction of duty. Even if that person doesn't have any ill intentions. Sister Modesty left. She said she was tired and needed a good rest. You can't catch up. She used the teleportation stone. Lilia explained. Teleport stone. A stone filled with magical power that can be engraved with space runes for one-time teleportation. Also very rare. But as the previous saintess, Modesty definitely had it. But Caesar doesn't have to worry about Modesty using the teleportation stone to escape. Because the teleportation stone requires forward shaking to use, she can take advantage of the forward shaking time to interrupt the teleportation. Teleportation stone. I'm sorry, Lilia saintess, it was my dereliction of duty. Belinda knelt down on one knee and admitted her mistake to Lilia. She will never make such a low-level mistake next time. No matter how close the person is, even the Pope, they must always warn each other. The only one who can be trusted is Lilia saintess. It's not your fault, Belinda. Okay, we should go back. Speaking of which, I haven't ridden a flying dragon yet. Lilia cleverly changed the subject. I don't want to talk more about Modesty. I hope the master can go well and not let Modesty escape. Chapter 91. In the pitch-black night sky, the crimson comet dragged its long tail flame and headed towards Andrews City. The rabbit talisman and the bloodline of the sky comet dragon mutually blessed each other, making Caesar's speed extremely fast, and bursts of sonic booms erupted in the sky. Waves of waves rippled from Nishizawa's body. The morning light fell on the earth, piercing the dark world. The red light on the horizon seems to lead the sun to this world full of darkness. Countless monsters woke up, raised their heads, and looked up at the sky. The king of their fourth natural disaster is back. Arriving above Andrews City, Caesar's speed slowed down instantly. His speed was too fast. If he didn't stop, Andrews City below would not be able to withstand his strong impact. Dragon's Lair, you're back. Where have you been and you're back so soon? Dilla was a little surprised. As soon as Caesar came back from outside, she felt the breath of Caesar and woke up from her sleep. Didn't go anywhere. Caesar chuckled and spread his dragon claws. Dilla immediately regained her energy and stood up suddenly to look at Zeisa's paw. In Caesar's paw, there was a human woman who had already passed out. Is this the breakfast you brought me? I like it very much, Caesar. Dilla licked the corners of her mouth. It smells delicious. No, Dilla, you misunderstood. She is not the food I brought to you, she belongs to me. Caesar blocked Dilla, who was about to eat Modesty. This greedy blue dragon. If he hadn't been here, Alania, the elf, would have been eaten long ago. Dilla frowned and said, are you going to do that kind of thing again? I'm here, isn't it enough? If you want to look like a human, I can change it. While talking, Dilla transformed into a human form. The beautiful and elegant human figure is in sharp contrast to the terrifying blue dragon in front. Congratulations on your guess, Dilla. You have known me for so long, don't you still understand my character? Caesar did not deny it. Although he is a giant dragon, his aesthetics have always been the same as those of humans. The dragon thinks it looks good, but he may not think it looks good. But beauties among human beings must think they are beautiful. I don't understand what's good about human beings. Can't I change? Dilla said angrily. She is a noble dragon. In order for Nishizawa to become a human being, he already showed his willingness to listen to Nishizawa's words. In the end, Caesar still had to touch these lowly humans. She was a little confused. You don't understand, Dilla. Yes, I don't understand, ignore you. Dilla snorted very womanly, gave Caesar a roll of her eyes, and transformed back into her dragon form. I went to the second floor of the dragon's lair and continued to sleep on my own. Looking at Dilla leaving, Caesar shrugged. How should he explain to Dilla? It's impossible to tell Dilla that she was once a human being. He can't tell anyone this secret. Caesar lowered his head and used magic to wake up the sleeping Desti. In order to avoid Modesty making any small moves on the way, Caesar specially used the somnolence technique to make Modesty fall asleep. She also thoughtfully used magic restraint to help her resist the sonic booms and hurricanes generated when she flew. Otherwise, Modesty's situation in Caesar's hands would not be much better. Where am I? That's right. I'm the red dragon. When Modesty woke up, her head was still dazed. Then the memories before falling asleep suddenly flooded into her mind, and Modesty immediately understood her current situation. As soon as he turned around, he saw the ferocious red dragon staring at him intently. Being stared at by the terrifying dragon eyes, Modesty subconsciously felt afraid. Didn't we introduce ourselves, Modesty? Caesar smiled playfully. He had been eyeing Modesty as early as when Lilia met Modesty. This saintess. The figure is surprisingly a bit foul. Evil dragon, you must have bewitched Lilia. Modesty still believes that Lilia is a kind little girl. It was definitely because his mind was too young that this evil dragon took advantage of it and bewitched his mind. Whatever you think, Modesty. What do you want to do? I heard about you from Lilia. Do you think your life is boring? Then let me give you a strong medicine. Don't. A few days later, Modesty was carried to the second floor of the dragon's lair by the awakened Dilla. Nothing else. Just because there was too much movement between Modesty and Xiaoju, Dilla couldn't sleep at all. You're just wasting food like this, you might as well eat it for me. Dilla said angrily. Even with Shizawa's powerful physique, he still showed no mercy. Modesty, a human woman, will definitely be broken. Don't be afraid, I have some healing power to prevent her body from collapsing. Caesar is still relaxed. This was his first time to forcefully occupy a woman without using any depraved means. Facing Modesty, the former saintess, Caesar must use strong materials and cannot use the same plan as before. It doesn't have much effect on Modesty. HMPH, the elf woman you brought back before, named Ilenia, said she didn't like the fourth natural disaster, but she still hasn't managed the fourth natural disaster in an orderly manner. Dilla complained about Ilenia. She watched with her own eyes as Ilenia went from being a dragon to being a master. Although she would still call Caesar evil dragon every time after doing something, she could see that Ilenia was very confused. 0. Ilenia, she is worthy of being a queen, she is quite capable. Caesar smiled. Ilenia was once the designated next elf queen. It was just that he was intercepted by Nishizawa halfway. What do you mean? Dilla said dissatisfied. You must know that Dilla herself was once the Blue Dragon Queen, but she was not as powerful as Ilenia when it came to managing monsters. The five-color dragon has always been very loose in managing monsters. As long as you don't betray yourself, you can do anything. This caused the dependents of the five-color dragon to fight in a messy manner, and were easily defeated by various human formations. It's not interesting, my queen Dilla. Caesar leaned on Dilla greedily. Now relying on the talent of feast, his size has reached the 40-meter mark. But compared to Dilla, it is still much smaller. Leaning on Delina's body, there is quite a feeling of sibling love. But Delina is indeed much older than Caesar. Hearing Queen Delina from Caesar's mouth, Delina suddenly felt as if her whole dragon was about to take off. Sounds really cool. Delina, come with me. What you up to? Don't think too much, I don't have any ideas in that regard for the time being, I just want to try summoning demons. Summon a demon. Delina looked at Caesar in surprise. What's the point of summoning a demon? The more powerful the demon, the more stringent the conditions for summoning it. The 5-colored dragons and demons have similar camps, but they are not interested in each other. Not all demons can reach the level of gods, and there are many demons whose strength is no different from ordinary monsters in the mainland. The only difference is that demons have a long lifespan. What are you trying to summon a demon for? Delina didn't understand. Lack of combat power. Impossible, there are already many monsters in the 4th natural disaster. Coupled with Caesar's mysterious summoning technique, the number of monsters is still increasing. There should be no shortage of fighting ability. Don't you want to taste what a demon tastes like? The corners of Caesar's mouth raised slightly. Taste the devil. Did you summon the devil just to eat it? Delina's mouth twitched. From ancient times to the present, no one has ever summoned a demon just to eat it. But when Caesar mentioned it like this, the smell of devil really made people yearn for it. I don't know what it felt like. Your heart is moved, Delina, let's go out and summon her. Caesar was worried that the demon summoned later would destroy his dragon's lair. Walk. Delina followed Caesar. As for Modesty on the 2nd floor, Caesar is not afraid of her running away. A mark had just been placed on Modesty's body. Outside Andreu's city, Caesar specially brought Delina to the former layer of rock. There happens to be no living things here. The open space is a good place to summon demons. Which demon are you going to summon? Delina asked curiously. There are many types of demons. There are strengths and weaknesses, it's very complicated. Even the demon races recorded in the dragon inheritance are incomplete. Succubus, what do you think? Caesar joked. Succubus, is this all you want to do? Delina said angrily. Succubi, anyone who knows this demon knows exactly what the succubus is used for. It is rumored that many men who have never been in contact with women will choose to summon a succubus to experience it after mastering the method of summoning a succubus. In this regard, succubi will accept all comers, no matter what race they are. Because the succubus relies on this method to gain strength. I'm just kidding, I'm not a succubus, I'm a coward. Most of the demons can be defeated with Caesar's current strength. The problem is that some demons are difficult to deal with, so just in case, Caesar still tries a weaker demon. Cowardly demon. The small demons in the Endless Abyss are crowded out by other demons in the Endless Abyss, and their strength is not very outstanding. Devil. Do you know how to summon it? Each demon is summoned differently. There are also random summons. Random summoning is a bit scary. If you summon that kind of being from the abyss, even Queen Tiamat will not be able to save you. I know, I have read a human book, which contains a method of summoning a timid demon. Just watch by and prevent the demon from escaping. Nishizawa finished. He used his dragon tail to carve a magic circle for summoning demons on the sandstone. Delina placed several magic restrictions around her to prevent the demon from running away the moment it was summoned. After a while, Nishizawa's summoning array is completed. It is a circle with a triangle carved in the middle, which is linked to various obscure and mysterious runes. After doing all this, Caesar took out an ear of the goblin, the stinking mud of the swamp, and a killed and bleeding lamb from the system space. Place 3 items in the middle of the summoning circle. Nishizawa began to whisper the summoning spell. Proficient abyssal language came from his mouth. The dragon's heritage is full of abyssal language. This is due to the fact that some creatures living in the native world, such as the Tauren, speak abyssal language. Delina looked on patiently. After a while, the summoning array gradually lit up with a charming purple light, and the goblin ears and swamp mud placed in the middle slowly disappeared. A green body over 5 meters high appeared in front of 2 giant dragons. Its body is similar to that of a giant ape, but it has no hair, its thick green skin is exposed, and its face is ferocious. A pair of large nostrils, like the rough nostrils of a chimpanzee. Goblin-like ears grow on both sides of its head, exposing empty ear holes. The moment it was summoned, the cowardly demon couldn't wait to open its mouth, showing its sharp teeth, and began to devour the lamb in front of it. Is this a cowardly demon? His strength is really poor. This was the first time Dilla saw the cowardly demon. I had learned about the cowardly demon in Dragon Heritage before. The strength is indeed relatively poor, but he is what I just want. Caesar smiled slightly. The timid demon seemed to have not seen these two giant dragons, devouring its own lamb food alone. After finishing eating the lamb, the timid demon finally raised his head and noticed the surrounding environment. When seeing the two giant dragons, Caesar and Dilla, the timid demon immediately tightened his neck in fear, and bent his legs in fear. Giant dragon, I don't know why you summoned me. How could two giant dragons summon him? This cowardly demon originally lived well in the endless abyss. After hearing the call, he subconsciously believed that a creature in the world that needed his power was calling him. Of course, the devil will not refuse such a good thing. Who would have thought that the one who summoned him was a giant dragon? There are also giant dragons in the endless abyss, so the cowardly demon is no stranger to giant dragons. Nothing, I summoned you, it's just that we want to have a taste of the devil. The words just fell. Caesar couldn't help but take action. The huge claws roared along with the hurricane, and suddenly probed towards the cowardly demon. The timid demon was so frightened that he wanted to return to his endless abyss through the magic circle. Dilla had already expected it and blocked the summoning circle in advance, eliminating the chance of going back. The cowardly demon's body exploded instantly under the wave of Caesar's claws. Caesar took advantage of this opportunity to show off his talent for feasting and swallowed the entire body of the coward demon in one gulp. Name: Caesar Fafnir Laden Nidhogg. Race: world-destroying Crimson Sky Comet Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Strength: 5,500. Defense: 8,000. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 3,100. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity, 12 Talisman, Magical Craftsmanship, Pride, Feast. Magic: Fire Element Summoning, proficient in the first ring of Fire Magic, proficient in the second ring of Fire Magic, Fire Protection. Evil Points: 2200. As the life value increases, the body size will increase. As the size increases, Nishizawa's power and attack will naturally increase. Without relying on the power of the 12 Talisman, his current data is enough to defeat the red dragon of the same period. The body of 40 meters is just the body of a young red dragon. After reaching 80 meters, the red dragon can enter a deep sleep and continue to improve. There is a huge range in body size between youth and adulthood. After eating a timid demon, Yingxi's vitality increased by 5,000. This surprised Caesar. Nishizawa, didn't you say you would bring me to eat with you? Dilla said slightly angrily. Why did he eat them all at once? Hateful. Don't leave anything for yourself. It's okay. It's okay. I'll give you the next one, Dilla. Caesar is very generous. Isn't it just a passive one? It doesn't matter. Next, he continued to repeat the previous steps, summoning 10 timid demons one after another. When he tried to summon them again, he found that the summoning failed. Failed, Caesar said unexpectedly. It's normal. The cowardly demon that was just summoned was eaten by us, so the aura of death of the cowardly demon here will be very strong. The summoned cowardly demon has the courage to come forward after feeling the death breath of so many companions. Dilla explained. Now, the entire demon summoning has become red. No worse than the so-called hell. Does this mean we need to change the magic circle? Caesar asked. No, the coward demons have recorded your aura, and they probably won't accept your summons for decades. Dilla shook her head and said. The demons in the endless abyss have good IQs and are not particularly stupid. It's impossible to come again even if you know something is dangerous. It doesn't matter, I have a lot of monsters anyway, just let them summon me. Caesar thought of a good way to increase the feast levels. I won't come, it's not delicious. Dilla refused. She just ate the taste of the cowardly demon, and it was not delicious at all. It was not as fragrant as the taste of ordinary beasts. Eating timid demons is simply a waste of time. There is no more Dilla to share the food. Caesar was even happier. He also felt that the cowardly demon was not tasty. However, if you use the feast talent to devour it, you can only eat it in one bite without even tasting the food. Immediately afterwards, Caesar called the monster leaders one by one and taught them how to summon the coward. After passing the 10th monster leader, I found that the cowardly demon could not be summoned no matter what. Finally, Caesar spent some time and found the reason. It turned out that the timid demon was timid. They were really scared. I have been summoned frequently recently, but I have never had a companion. This frightened the timid demon, who was already weak and wary, to the point where he did not dare to accept the summons from the continent of Nishizawa. There is no return. What a bunch of cowardly guys, why don't you dare to come here? Nishizawa felt very unhappy, so I continued to look for a suitable demon to be summoned within the dragon's heritage. After a while, Caesar really found him. I just don't know how to summon this demon out. It's a problem. We have to let the monsters collect ways to summon demons. Dragon inheritance is not omnipotent. You have to rely on yourself for everything. In the following time, Caesar summoned several demons that he knew how to summon one after another. The strength is not very strong. The HP increase for Caesar is very small, but it is better than nothing. It's better than standing still. City of Lebio. Princess Freya, it's getting late, so we won't disturb you. I hope you will be in a good mood tomorrow. Well, thank you very much. The merciful light of the sun god will shine on you and give you a bright future. Click. The door is closed. As Princess Freya watched the guards leave, her originally gentle and beautiful face suddenly seemed to be covered with frost and extremely cold. The soft beautiful eyes are extremely cold. Obviously I am the most loyal believer of the sun god. Why don't you give me divine weapon? Don't let divine weapon recognize me. Freya's delicate face became ferocious, and she kept hitting the wall with her fists in anger. Use the wall as a target for your anger. She is obviously the most popular and gentle princess in the empire, and she is also a fanatical believer appointed by the Sun Temple. Why? He didn't recognize himself, but instead recognized his disrespectful sister who was born later than him. Why is this? The birth of my sister took away everything from me. Dong dong dong. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. The angry Freya instantly regained her composure, and a gentle and beautiful smile appeared on her face. What's the matter? Princess Freya, this letter from the Empire is from Princess Lilia to you. The guard outside said. It turns out to be a letter from my sister, please let me see it quickly. Andreu's city. I heard that a caravan of elves came here to rest today. Elenia, aren't you going to see your companions? Caesar asked. You clearly know what happened to me. Quote. Elenia looked at Caesar with fierce eyes. Now that I look like myself, do I still have the face to meet my fellow elves? I'm afraid her companions will hate her when they see her. Don't worry, Elenia, as long as you don't do anything extraordinary, I promise not to leak anything between us. Caesar gently lifted Elenia's smooth chin. Elenia's beautiful eyes moved slightly, and she felt a little moved. The other side. I heard that the monsters here are ruled by a red dragon. It's hard to imagine that in a territory ruled by a red dragon, you can get shelter by just paying a little money. This is all just an illusion. Have a night's rest and set off as early as possible tomorrow. I think it's quite interesting. Come to think of it, the unique red dragon might be able to talk to you. Are you still talking? Don't forget, the dragon's favorite food is us elves. Humans are not yet. There are 5 elves in this elf caravan, and they are currently living in a hotel in Andreu's city. At first, these elves were surprised when they learned about the situation in Andreu's city. Subconsciously I felt it was impossible. It wasn't until they followed a human caravan here that they finally understood that this was not a lie. The domineering and arrogant red dragon not only did not snatch all the gold coins, but also only needed to pay some gold coins to get the protection of the monsters. In the past, they wouldn't have dared to think about it. But this is the territory of the evil dragon after all, so just take a night's rest. We should set off early tomorrow to prevent accidents. Go back to your respective rooms and go to bed early. The elf captain of the caravan just finished speaking. There was a knock at the door. The 5 elves looked at each other and subconsciously touched their weapons. This is the territory of the evil dragon, so there will inevitably be no accidents. Hello, I don't mean any harm. My name is Elenia. I am a tribal elf. I heard that a caravan of the same race is coming, so I wanted to come and take a look. A gentle female voice came from outside. The 5 elves did not relax their vigilance. The elf captain signaled his companions not to come forward, walked to the door and opened it. Come into view. She is a beautiful and dignified elf woman. Seeing that they were indeed from the same race, the elf captain immediately lowered his guard. Hello, my name is Guy. I didn't expect to meet an elf tribesman in a place like this. The relations between the elves are very good. Even if the two parties don't know each other, they can quickly become familiar with each other. Tribal elves are elves who are not ruled by the elven kingdom and live in tribes in the wild. Although they are not citizens of the elf kingdom, the people of the elf kingdom do not reject their companions, but rather hope that they can join this big family. It's a tribal elf. Hello, my name is Guido, I'm Guy's sister. Soon, the elves behind Guy stepped forward and introduced themselves. He invited Elenia into the house very enthusiastically. After a while, Elenia, I wonder why you came to Andreu's city alone? Guy asked confused. The tribal elf is alone outside without any elf companions. It's really a bit dangerous. It would be bad if they were captured by some bad slave traders. I live in a nearby elf tribe, and I heard about the story of Andreu's city, so the tribe asked me to come over and have a look. Elenia had already thought of the reason. Is it originally to investigate the situation of the evil dragon? Guy suddenly realized. Speaking of this, Sister Elenia, I wonder if you have heard of something. Guido suddenly asked. What's the matter? After chatting with the elves for a while, Elenia felt very happy, and a smile appeared on her face. There is a feeling as if I have returned to the past. At that time, she had not been enslaved by the evil dragon, and was still an upright and kind elf. I heard that there is an elf next to the evil dragon in Andreu's city. The name Andreu's city was given by that elf. Guido just said it. The smile on Elenia's face froze. The elf the other party mentioned was himself. I've heard about this too. The elf who betrayed the goddess of nature actually took refuge in an evil dragon. It's simply a shame for us elves. If it were in the kingdom, it wouldn't be a pity for this elf to die. The elves who have fallen for themselves are disgusting and ugly, no different from drow. Gadio's words were like opening up his own chat box. All the elves present began to criticize the elf who had taken refuge in the evil dragon. What they didn't notice was that Elenia's face became increasingly gloomy, and she lowered her head and remained silent. Sister Elenia, why don't you speak? Guido asked doubtfully. No, it's nothing. I just suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. It must be because I didn't have a good rest last night and I was a little sleepy. Elenia raised her head, barely holding a smile on her lips. Then Sister Elenia, go and rest quickly. By the way, it's best not to stay in Andreu's city for a long time. It will be dangerous. Guido said with concern. She didn't know that the elves who she said were willing to fall for themselves were called elf scum. Shockingly, it was Elenia in front of her. Elenia left the house as the 5 people watched. I think Elenia is a little weird. An elf commented. Strange, what's weird? Maybe the tribal elves are like this. Don't take it too seriously. It doesn't matter, we're leaving tomorrow anyway, maybe we'll see Elenia in the future. The elves looked at each other and smiled. The other sighed. Elenia walked out of the room. Unexpectedly, by some mistake, he came to the area where the jackals lived. Elenia, why did you come to me? Because Elenia has not recognized her identity for a long time, the monsters still respect her. But she was not addressed as mistress. Unlike Dilla, who openly admitted that she was the mistress of the 4th natural disaster. Can I ask you a favor? Elenia asked. Of course, that's no problem, Elenia. Waz nodded. Although the other party is not the mistress yet, Waz feels that it will be a matter of time. This is the mistress of the 4th natural disaster, the companion of His Majesty the Holy Lord. With such a distinguished status, if Waz hadn't been a male, he might have sent himself to Caesar's bed. The 5 elves who came to Andreu's city today, after they leave here, let your jackals kill them. Elenia said these horrifying words. This was the first time she chose to kill a fellow human being. The previous encounter with the dungeon elf was forced by Caesar, but this time it was her own request. It's just a matter of killing a few elves and waiting for good news from the Lenya tribe tomorrow. Waz smiled disapprovingly. I thought it was some big request, but I didn't expect it was just to kill a few elves. That night, in the dragon's lair, Caesar was surprised that Lilia took the initiative to find him. He also worked very hard, Li Haojiao, to perform in front of himself. This made Caesar feel a little confused. What the hell is Lilia doing? Why does it feel like she's a different person? But he likes it. In the past, Lilia was passive, but today she finally took the initiative. Caesar planned to have some fun with her first and talk about other things later. Next day, the elf caravan headed by Guy set off early. What they didn't know was that when they left Andrew's city, they were followed by several wolf tails. At noon, Lilia, who had woken up and put on her clothes, was enjoying the sun outside the dragon's lair when a black shadow blocked her face. When he looked up, he saw the jackal Waz. As you wish, Lilia. Waz dropped the elf heads hanging on his belt one by one in front of Lilia. Looking at these 5 ferocious and terrifying heads, Lilia was stunned for a moment, and then gradually revealed a weird laugh. It made Waz a little frightened. What a cold laugh, without a trace of emotion. Elf Lilia is completely corrupted and gains 3,000 evil points. This is what happened, Your Majesty. After leaving Lilia's presence, Waz told Caesar exactly what Lilia asked him to do. I see, you did a good job, Waz. Caesar finally understood why Lilia was so corrupted. It is estimated that something unfriendly happened to the 5 companions she met last night, which caused Lilia to have murderous intentions. He actually asked Waz to take the jackals to kill his companions. When asking Waz to kill the elf caravan, Lilia thought very carefully. Waz was deliberately asked to wait until the elf caravan left Andrew's city before taking action. In this way, the credibility of Andrew's city can be preserved and the elf caravan can be killed. No wonder Lilia was so proactive last night. Caesar, who understood the cause and effect, even praised Waz several times. Ever since Jackal Waz joined the 4th natural disaster, he has been reassured in everything he does. It seems it's time for these monster bosses to evolve properly. However, evolution is evolution, and we cannot reward them for no reason. We must start the next war. Target, Lebio City. Andrew's city, which has been silent for some time, is now the time to take action. City of Lebio. Princess Freya, when do you plan to leave? Duke Pelos, who came with Freya, asked. He is here to manage the army in Lebio City. Freya came along just to calm the fearful hearts of the civilians in the city. It's impossible to stay here forever. Lebio City is a city close to the Dragon Kingdom, and Freya, as the princess of the Empire, cannot of course put herself in danger like this. She carries a teleportation stone with her. If the evil dragon suddenly attacks the city, Freya will immediately use the teleportation stone to return to the imperial capital. It is impossible to stay here and face danger with this group of civilian soldiers. In a few days, Freya sat elegantly on the chair and drank the hot tea in her hand. The light peach hair flows in the wind, like extremely beautiful cherry blossoms, which attracts attention. After all, the city next door is occupied by an evil dragon. I think it's better for you, Princess Freya, to leave first, in case the evil dragon suddenly attacks Lebio City. Pelos suggested. Freya chuckled and said, I am the princess of the Empire and the spiritual support of everyone. How can I abandon everyone and leave alone? I must stay and see for a while before leaving. Princess Freya, you are still so kind, alas. Pelos sighed. What a kind and gentle princess. Unfortunately, according to my inside information, His Majesty the King's favorite successor seems to be Princess Cradelet. In this world, the throne is not necessarily inherited by princes. If the princess has strong abilities, she can also inherit the throne and become the queen of a country. Princess Cradelia is the chosen user of the divine weapon, and her power is very powerful, which is valued by His Majesty the King, Dad. As a successor, you must not only be gentle, kind and smart, but also have experience. Pelos didn't stay in Freya's room for long before he left first. He couldn't leave Lebio City anyway. Unless the threat of the evil dragon disappeared, he would have to stay in the city and be alert to the invasion of the evil dragon. As soon as Pelos left, Freya's gentle eyes disappeared and were replaced by fierce ones. Why can she inherit the throne? Freya said angrily. Just the day before yesterday, my sister Lila sent a message saying that her father had approached her and expressed his desire for her to inherit the throne. Freya was extremely angry when she learned that her father wanted her sister to inherit the throne. Apart from being recognized by divine weapon, what other aspect of my sister is better than me? Every time she got into trouble when she was a child, which time did she not help her? Now my father would actually choose this naughty and ignorant sister. He is really blind. Of course, the sister's letter also stated that she rejected the throne, saying that she thought her sister Freya was more suitable for the throne. He also asked Freya to come back from Lebio City this morning. Freya smiled disdainfully at this. I think all this is just my sister's plan. Pretending not to be enthusiastic about the throne, in fact, he has long been coveted for the throne. Virtual sister. It's a pity that this sister was recognized by divine weapon, but it was Freya who had nothing. Except for the empty belief in the sun god has given himself nothing. Thinking of this, Freya became more and more angry and pulled off the sun pendant hanging on her chest. This is something from the Temple of the Sun. It means that she is a believer in the sun god. She threw the sun pendant on the ground and stepped on it with her jade feet. Sun god, why? Why did your divine weapon choose my sister over me? In order to gain recognition from divine weapon, Freya has been hiding her true side since she was sensible. Package yourself as a follower of the sun god. Until the birth of his younger sister Lila, everything was taken away from him. But the persona is already like this, and Freya cannot change it easily. I thought that without the divine weapon, she would be valued by her father and inherit the throne. Unexpectedly, even the throne was taken away by his sister. Whether she doesn't care about the throne or wants to give herself the throne, these are just her sisters showing off. Freya's chest was rising and falling with anger. After a while, Freya, who had vented a bit, still squatted down and picked up the sun pendant. Anyway, things have not reached the point where they cannot be changed. As long as her father does not really announce the next heir, she still has a chance. It's really unexpected. Princess Freya of the Toot Empire is secretly such a person. Who is it? Freya, who had just picked up the sun pendant, was startled and turned around hurriedly. There was no one at the window where the sound came from, only a strange red bird, which was staring at him intently. That pair of bird eyes made Freya fearful for some reason, and she took a step back in fear. Were you talking just now? Freya asked subconsciously. It's me, dear Princess Freya. When we meet for the first time, you can call me Holy Lord. Caesar smiled. He spread his wings and flew to the table. Holy Lord, wait, I remember that one of the nicknames of the evil dragon that occupied the town of Cordo is Holy Lord. Freya's pupils shrank. As a princess who came to Lebio City, she had much more information than Colin. When Nishizawa took the initiative to report his nickname, Lilia thought of the evil dragon that controlled the town of Cordo. It's me, Princess Freya. Nishizawa openly admitted his identity. There is no hiding anything. After receiving Caesar's recognition, Freya subconsciously wanted to escape. Unexpectedly, Caesar appeared in front of her the next second. Princess Freya, I think escaping now is not a good option. Or should I show you this first so that we can have a friendly exchange? Caesar skillfully took out his video recorder. Ah. As soon as I opened it, I heard a pleasant cry. Sorry, I got the wrong one. Freya's face turned red. The scene that Caesar showed her just now was a scene with an elf. It's so shameful. That's right. Caesar didn't pay attention just now and took out the video with Elenia. That's right now. Open it and take a look. Freya saw herself on the screen, furious. If this video is spread, her gentle and elegant persona will collapse instantly. Not only that, she would have no chance of taking the throne. The people of the empire would despise her, and she would become the one everyone shouted at. No, do not want. Freya subconsciously wanted to snatch it. Caesar quickly returned to the system space and came to the table. Can we have a good chat now? Princess Freya. Freya's delicate body trembled, and her thoughts of escaping were instantly withdrawn. This secret must not be known to anyone. Otherwise, she will never be able to raise her head in the Toot Empire. My younger sister, Clartarila, would definitely laugh at me. For the sake of face, Freya returned to her position stiffly. Congratulations on making the right choice, Princess Freya. Caesar was satisfied with Freya's performance. Today he originally wanted to see the Princess Freya. There was no intention of showing up at first. But who would have thought that he would just encounter this side of Freya? When he saw Freya showing her true face, Nishizawa immediately took out the video recorder and started recording without saying anything. How wonderful. It's really similar to that old friend. What on earth do you want to do, son evil dragon? Freya clenched her jade hands into fists, clenched her silver teeth, and stared at Caesar fiercely. I was careless. Unexpectedly, there was an evil dragon hiding by the window. More importantly, the evil dragon also held a magical thing in his hand, which recorded all his scenes. Don't look at me like that, Princess Freya, maybe we can cooperate. Caesar chuckled. Cooperation? What can I do with a giant dragon like you? Freya frowned. She didn't expect that Caesar would ask her to cooperate. From what you said just now, Princess Freya, it seems that you really want the throne. When Nishizawa mentioned this, Freya stood up immediately and said, this is originally mine. Don't be excited, Princess Freya. I know the throne belongs to you. If you don't mind, can you tell me your story? Caesar could only understand a little bit from Freya's words just now. I don't know much about Freya's situation. All I know is that she seems to hate the sun god and dislikes her sister. Freya fell silent. The standing body was a little weak and he sat back on the chair. Perhaps because Caesar knew about it, Freya slowly told the story between herself and her sister without any concealment. A long time. Holy Master, please tell me, in what way am I inferior to Lila? Didn't she just occupy the divine weapon and recognize her? Apart from the divine weapon, in what way is she as good as me? Maybe someone finally knows his true identity. Freya suddenly exposed her pent-up emotions. While telling these stories, even Freya didn't notice that her face became extremely ferocious, and her beautiful face looked a bit ugly. Only in front of Caesar can Freya show her true self. So after confiding her feelings to Caesar, she found that she felt a little better and was not as depressed as before. I understand what you mean, Princess Freya. I sincerely feel sorry for you. Indeed, your sister is not as good as you. The throne of this empire should belong to you. Not only that, the user of the divine weapon should also be you. Caesar echoed Freya's words. After hearing the words of the Holy Lord, Freya's expression was relieved and softened a lot. HMPH, forget it, are you trying to redress the injustice? You have returned a piece of our empire. Freya, who regained her senses, smiled disdainfully. She felt that Caesar had absolutely no good intentions towards her. However, Caesar's words made Freya feel very comfortable. Finally, someone thought the same as her. This sister, Lila, if her mother had not been favored by her father, how could this younger sister have taken the throne? You can't say that, Princess Freya. The small town of Cordo is not worth mentioning to the Toot Empire, which has a huge family and business. What Caesar said is quite right. If the small town of Cordo was really so important to the Toot Empire, the people would have taken the initiative long ago. You may not know how angry my father was after you swallowed up the town of Cordo. He wanted to skin you, the evil dragon. Freya said, I have always been in Andrew's city and welcome the king of the Toot Empire at any time. I just don't know if your father dares to come. Caesar spread his wings and exposed his mind. He is very hospitable. So what exactly is the cooperation you are talking about? If you are talking nonsense with me, then let's avoid it. Freya ran out of patience. Don't worry, Princess Freya, I have a plan that can help you and I profit at the same time. Caesar said, profit at the same time? Freya asked doubtfully. That's right, making a profit at the same time. While helping you get the throne, it also allows me to own a few more territories. Caesar needed a cooperative king. Freya is a good choice. Originally, he didn't have this plan at first, but after seeing Freya's true face, he had this plan in mind. Do you think a red dragon's words are credible? Freya frowned. Of course it is trustworthy. As everyone knows, I am a noble dragon. I always keep my promises and never break my promises. Zizatian said shamelessly. Tell me, how do you cooperate? Only then can I get the throne, and how much money can you get to become the king? Freya was moved. She really longs for the throne. So eager to hear the plans of this evil dragon, Caesar. Even though he knew there was an abyss ahead of him, he approached it without hesitation. Before that, let me ask Princess Freya first, what do you think is the key to whether you and your sister can win the throne? Caesar asked. In terms of strength, I think I am no worse than Lilia. But in terms of strength, I am indeed no match for her. Freya answered simply. She believed that the key to her inability to obtain the throne was that her father took a fancy to her sister's ability to possess the divine weapon. Only a strong monarch can guide the empire more smoothly. Everything else is secondary. After all, this is a continent with fighting spirit and magic. As a king, his strength must not be too bad. I can give you power. Caesar said. You gave me power. Could it be a dragon transformation ceremony? Freya teased. It was definitely impossible for her to use the dragon transformation ritual. This would directly reveal that she had an affair with Caesar, and it would be known that a princess had a deal with a dragon, let alone become a king. I am afraid that I will be imprisoned in the dungeon by my father himself and will never be able to come out in this life. No, it's not a dragon transformation ceremony, it's another way to make you stronger. Speaking of which, Caesar used the communication device to notify Lilia, telling her that he needed to temporarily take away her power. Lilia said there was no problem with this. After a while, Caesar, holding the angel template, loaded the angel template onto Freya's body. In an instant, Freya only felt that her whole body was bathed in the gentle holy light. Immediately afterwards, Freya's whole body changed. Her light peach hair disappeared and was replaced by long white hair with a faint golden light. The long skirt on her body turned into a battle armor, and 3 pairs of white wings stretched out from behind her. Like an angel descending to earth. Before Freya could come back to her senses and feel this power. This powerful force disappeared in an instant and fell from the clouds into the abyss. Freya couldn't accept it. No, my power. Freya subconsciously hugged the air, trying to grasp this power, but she was helpless. He watched helplessly as this power moved away from him. It feels good to gain strength. Nishizawa teased. You gave this to me. Freya came back to her senses and said in surprise. An evil dragon actually possesses such holy power. It can also be given to others. Is this the real sun god coming to the world? The result is obvious, isn't it? Nishizawa said calmly. Can you still give me this power? Freya was moved. She thought she just lacked this power. The power just now was too powerful. It was so powerful that she was extremely obsessed with it at the moment. Of course it's no problem, Princess Freya, as long as you agree to cooperate with me, I can give you this power at any time. Caesar drew a pie. First of all, there is only one template, so it is impossible to switch between Lilia and Freya all the time. So I can only draw a picture temporarily. After all, Freya had no choice. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Freya calmed down her excitement. She didn't take Caesar's cooperation plan seriously at first. At this moment, she was completely moved. What a powerful force. With this power, she can also be said to be a miracle of the sun god, and she can also have power that rivals the divine weapon. It's very simple. Lebio City is my next plan, and I need you to help me kill the people who manage this city. As long as Lebio City is leaderless, no matter how many imperial soldiers there are, they cannot be an opponent of the 4th natural disaster monsters. Without the leader, these soldiers are like ants on a hot pot. The person in charge of the city and the ruling army is Duke Pelos. I can't kill him. He himself is a Sword King level and has other tasks. Freya said clearly. She is too weak. It was simply impossible to kill Pelos. Pelos will also reveal his true face. I will give you that power temporarily, and how you use this power to kill Pelos is your business. Caesar said. It just so happened that Lilia's trouble was solved. With the guardian knight Belinda here, nothing will happen for the time being. It would be fine to temporarily lend the angel template to Freya. If it's the same power just now, I'm confident. Freya's eyes lit up. Can you feel that powerful power again? Although the experience lasted only a few seconds, Freya was already obsessed with this taste. What are you going to do? Caesar asked rhetorically. Pelos is very confident about me. In his eyes, I am a powerless princess. I plan to. Freya slowly told her plan. After learning of Freya's plan, Caesar couldn't help but give Freya a high look. This woman is very cruel. It seems that killing Peros is as simple as trampling an ant to death. No wonder I didn't receive the notification of gaining evil points. It turns out that Freya has been in darkness for a long time. I'm looking forward to your performance. Then let the Holy Master take a good look at the drama performed for you. Freya acted quickly and immediately arranged for the guards to find Duke Pelos. Caesar waited quietly for the arrival of Pelos. To be honest, he didn't expect Freya to be so decisive. She was indeed the most kind princess in the empire. All the older sisters are like this, but I don't know what to do with the younger sisters. After a while, there was a knock on the door outside. Please come in. Freya acted as if nothing had happened. He was still sitting elegantly and dignifiedly, tasting the tea that had become colder. Sword King Duke Pelos opened the door and walked in. He had a firm and serious face and a beard on his chin. He has a burly body and a strong physique under the gorgeous aristocratic clothes. Princess Freya, what do you want from me? Pelos asked. This was the first time that Princess Freya took the initiative to look for herself. Are you planning to go back? After all, the day before yesterday, he heard that Princess Cradilla wrote a letter to Princess Freya. Maybe something happened in the imperial capital. Master Pelos, please sit down. I'm looking for you this time because something big happened to me. I seem to have been blessed by the sun god. Freya's acting is very good. There was a hint of excitement and joy on her beautiful face. He looked very happy. Blessing from the sun god. Pelos stood up in a flash and said in disbelief, Princess Freya, you have been blessed by the sun god. Is it true? I'm not sure, so I want to ask Duke Pelos to come and take a look. Freya stood up pretending to be confused, raised her wrist, and signaled Caesar, who was hiding by the window, to give her that power. Caesar was very cooperative and once again gave the power of the Angel of Justice template to Freya. In an instant, a dazzling brilliance rose up from Freya's body, and the sacred light lifted the beauty into the air. It's like a god descending to earth, and the divine light emanating from it makes people feel warm. A miracle. It's a miracle. Yes, this power can't be wrong. Peros was so excited that he almost knelt on the ground and prayed to Freya. He had felt this power in Princess Cradilla. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Princess Freya has indeed received a gift from the sun god. Very good. That's great. As a fanatical believer of the sun god, Princess Freya received a divine gift. Isn't this a matter of course? Pelos was sincerely happy for Princess Freya. Now that Princess Freya has been blessed by the gods, she might have a chance to win the throne. Compared to the naughty Princess Cradilla, Peros hopes that the delicious Princess Maya of Wind will gain the throne. Only Princess Freya is the qualified heir to the throne. Really, Duke Pelos, I don't know what to say. Freya was addicted to this power. This performance is not disguised, she is indeed in love with this one district. It's just too powerful. No wonder her younger sister Cradilla always feels that everything doesn't matter, even if the evil dragon takes over the town of Cordello, she has an indifferent attitude. With such a powerful force, how could he care about the area occupied by the evil dragon? You can take it back at any time. Princess Freya, my suggestion is that you please return to the imperial capital immediately and make this good news public to the public so that His Majesty the King can know the good news. Pelos suggested. Well, Duke Pelos, I plan to leave tomorrow. Freya slowly landed. It would be great if this powerful force always belonged to you. In her excitement, Freya will not forget that Caesar can take back this power at any time. Only by pleasing this giant dragon can she gain power. Tomorrow. No, Princess Freya, don't you have a teleportation stone in your hand? Just use the teleportation stone to go back. Pelos said. Only by using the teleportation stone to return to the imperial capital can the good news be announced faster. There is no need to worry about what accidents may happen on the way back. The teleportation magic circle is very rare and requires a legendary mage to arrange it, and it consumes even more magic power to go back and forth. Teleportation magic arrays were set up only in the most important places. Lebio City does not. Speaking of which, the more Pelos talked, the more excited he became and began to think about a bright future. That future belongs to Princess Freya. Pelos, who was extremely excited, didn't care about Freya who was approaching him step by step. In his heart, Princess Freya is the kindest and gentlest person. Even when eating, I would pray for the dead before eating. Duke Pelos, is this sword the divine weapon? Freya raised the holy sword in her hand. This holy sword comes with the Angel of Justice template. Because the glorious holy sword of the glorious church disappeared, Lilia used the fake glorious holy sword as a carrier to make the fake become real. And if there is no carrier, the holy sword will directly transform. Let me see. When Peros just stepped forward and wanted to study it carefully, Freya suddenly grasped the holy sword and pierced Pelos's chest without any warning. The tip of the holy sword, which exuded golden light, was stained with drops of bright red blood. Pelos raised his head and looked at Freya in disbelief. Your Highness Princess. What are you doing? Pierce was stabbed in the chest and fell into a daze. What he couldn't believe was that this gentle and kind-hearted princess actually pierced his chest. The generous holy sword pierced his heart. If it weren't for the vitality of the Sword King, he would have died on the spot. Sorry, Duke Pelos, I didn't mean it. It's just that the prerequisite for obtaining this power is to sacrifice your life. As my supporter, Duke Pelos will definitely sacrifice his life willingly even if I don't need to take action, right? Freya is beautiful. He kept piercing Peros's chest with a faint smile on his beautiful face. In Pelos' eyes, this gentle smile was no longer so gentle. Instead, it was filled with endless coldness, like falling into an ice cave. A destructive light filled Peros's guts. Even Pelos, the Sword King, could only hold on for a while with his vitality. His eyes collapsed and his head fell down weakly. Death of Pelos. I hope your soul can be received by the kingdom of God, Duke Pelos. After killing Pelos, Freya showed no fear on her face. Instead, she showed a sickly smile, and then kicked Pelos's body. He pulled out the holy sword that symbolized glory. As the holy sword was pulled out, Pelos's chest, which was pierced by the holy sword, gushed out blood like a spring and fell into a pool of blood. The blood stained on the holy sword was quickly wiped away by the holy light and restored to a holy light blade. What you asked me to do has been done. I hope you can keep your promise. Just as Freya was enjoying this power, Caesar suddenly took back this power. Let Freya fall into the clouds again. Of course I will keep my promise, Princess Freya. What you have to consider now is how do you explain the death of Duke Pelos. It was impossible for Caesar to split the template of the Angel of Justice in two. Give it to Lilia and Freya. Compared to Freya, he naturally prefers Lilia. This is the saintess that he trained with his own hands. It's not the same thing as Freya's white and black. As long as you can give me that power again, I will give you a perfect answer. Freya stretched out her delicate jade hands to Caesar. She wants that power. You are really fascinated by this power, Princess Freya, but this matter alone is not enough for you to obtain this power, King. Then what else are you going to do? I want you. Want me. To be precise, it's your body. Quote, Caesar looked straight at Freya, his aggressive eyes sizing up Freya's bumpy body. The meaning is self-evident. TCH, he is indeed an evil dragon. He even wants my body. Freya has long heard that dragons are very bad. But I didn't expect that Caesar would take a fancy to me. Indeed, her appearance and figure are the best in the empire. There are countless men who want to pursue her. But they were all rejected by Freya. Because Freya appears to be a loyal believer of the sun god, she must remain pure. Then are you willing to sacrifice your body? Caesar asked. As long as you can give me strength and help me become the queen of the Toot Empire, I will give you anything. There is greed and longing in Freya's beautiful eyes. Keeping a pure body is just to tell the sun god that he is a loyal believer. Let divine weapon recognize itself. But since the sun god is unwilling to do this, why should she maintain a pure body for the sun god? Freya only chooses what is good for herself. I like your character very much, Freya, but as for the ugly words, I can help you gain power and the throne, provided that you can only belong to me. Caesar doesn't want a bus, he wants a private car. If it weren't for the fact that Freya was still pure, he wouldn't bother to pay attention to Freya. As you wish, Holy Lord. Next day, the news of Duke Pelos' death spread throughout Lebio City. No one thought that the Duke, who had just arrived in Lebio City, would die like this. The cause of death was assassination. This is what Princess Freya said herself. Everyone believed what Princess Freya said, and no one doubted that what she said was a lie. This is the reputations Freya has accumulated. Everyone felt sorry for the dead Duke Pelos, and at the same time, the escort began to investigate the assassination of Duke Pelos. Freya is a woman with very good acting skills. She easily deceived the guards and escaped their scrutiny. I feel sorry for Duke Pelos. The murderer will surely be baptized by the glory of the sun god. The murderer cannot be allowed to go unpunished. No one noticed. When Freya said this, she always had a faint smile on her lips. On the surface, he still looked sad and felt sorry for Pelos. Everyone around, under the leadership of Freya, performed the final death ceremony for Duke Pelos. Taking advantage of the death of Duke Pelos, Freya successfully found a reason to return to the imperial capital. Pelos' body needs to be returned to his family. Let his family bury Pelos in the family cemetery. Knowing that Princess Freya was leaving with the body of Duke Pelos, everyone was very reluctant to leave. You promised to give me strength. Holy Lord, I have done everything you asked me to do. I even gave you my body. You can't break your promise. On the eve of preparing to leave Lebio City, Freya went to Caesar and asked Caesar to give her power. Unexpectedly, Caesar told her that it was not possible for the time being. This really made Freya angry. She thought she was disgusting enough, but she didn't expect this evil dragon to be even more disgusting than herself. Sure enough, compared to doing evil, there is nothing better than an evil dragon. Don't get excited, Freya, it's not that I won't give it to you, it's just that it's not the time yet. Caesar signaled Freya not to worry. This is the power of the Angel of Justice template. It's impossible to keep going back and forth between Lilia and Freya. Still have to find another way. Isn't it time yet? When will it be? You clearly promised me, Holy Lord, even a 5-color dragon cannot be so shameless. Freya's chest swelled with anger. I saw someone more shameless than me. This is simply prostitution for nothing. Freya, if you don't believe me, then our cooperation ends here. Caesar disagreed. I got everything I wanted. You, Holy Lord, I don't mean this, I trust you very much, but you have to let me see your sincerity. Freya was really angry. If her cooperation with Nishizawa really ends, then she will really be prostituted for nothing. It was just a simple experience of powerful power. What a scoundrel. Just believe me, Freya, just wait for my good news. Anyway, you go back with Pelos' body first. It won't be long before the 4th natural disaster will attack Lebio City. I know, it's the defense you want. Quote, facing Caesar, Freya was silent for a while, then handed over the defense plan she carried to Caesar. This is what Caesar asked her to do. The magic cannon is very powerful, so Caesar needs to know where the magic cannon is deployed in Lebio City. In this way, when attacking Lebio City, we can mainly attack several places. Eliminate the weapons that threaten the 4th scourge. Freya, smile more, you will look better when you smile. Nishizawa put away the defense map and joked. Hee. Freya reluctantly smiled, then turned and left. I don't want to have anything to do with Caesar anymore. How infuriating. The problem is, there's nothing she can do. The initiative has always been in Caesar's hands. Caesar looked at Freya's enchanting back and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Look at your luck, Freya. Finished. Caesar flapped his wings and flew out of the window, returning to his city of Andreas. Andreus City. After completely going dark, Ilenia acts conscientiously and diligently. The order of the entire Andreus City was handled in an orderly manner, without any flaws. She is worthy of being a queen. Dilla, the Blue Dragon Queen, was put at a disadvantage, and she thought she could not compare to Ilenia in this aspect. Of course, this does not affect Dillina's feeling that she is nobler than Ilenia. Does Nishizawa like humanoid forms? Then just turn into a human being. You have to always cater to your man's preferences. In less than half a year, Dillina had forgotten the fact that she had been enslaved by Caesar for 100 years. As if she regarded herself as Caesar's real wife. Name: Caesar Fafnir Leyden Nidhogg. Race: world-destroying Crimson Sky Comet Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 13,500. Strength: 5,600. Defense: 8,000. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 3,200. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, fire damage immunity, 12 talisman, magical craftsmanship, pride, feast. Magic. Fire element summoning, proficient in first ring fire magic, proficient in second ring fire magic, fire protection. Evil points, 5,300. With more than 5,000 evil points, Caesar returned to the dragon's lair and washed his hands with the purification technique. I also specially took out a transparent fat card, which belongs to the goddess after all, and can barely add some blessings of happiness. Then start praying to the goddess of luck. I, the red dragon Caesar, have never even prayed to Tiamat. This is the benefit of you being the goddess of luck. I hope you can bring me some luck. Don't let yourself down. The stars surged. Colorful brilliance slid down the starry sky. Congratulations to the host for drawing green items and 3,000 human troops. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing a purple item, 100 beans from a certain world. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing white items and 10 pieces of dirty underwear. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing the golden item, Dawnbringer, Morgana template. Closing square bracket. Freya really got it. Caesar didn't expect Freya to be so lucky, and she happened to be paired with the Angel of Justice Kyle. Both sisters were whipped by themselves. This Morgana template is also the Dawnbringer template. It won't make Freya look evil, but it will make her feel like an angel. This time, apart from drawing a gold, there seemed to be no other good things in the 10th company. He took a look at the remaining 2,007 evil points. Caesar decided to stay, because he discovered a new function of the system, that is, if 26,000 evil points are consumed in one go, it is certain that the Crimson Legend will appear, and the overall number of the 10 companies will increase. So Caesar wanted to try out what his first crimson item would be. Gold can no longer satisfy himself. Don't give this template to Freya for the time being, and let her hurry up. Only in this way can Freya understand that I have always been in charge. Caesar needs to train Freya into a slave who listens to him unconditionally, rather than being angry with the star at the top of himself. Freya must be allowed to understand her position clearly. Caesar shouted. A few minutes passed. I'm here, Your Majesty the Holy Lord. I heard you were looking for me. After receiving the news, Waz hurried in from outside. Let all the monsters of the fourth natural disaster prepare. In 3 days it will be time to attack Lebio City. Caesar couldn't hold it any longer. Colin and Freya both left Lebio City, and now there are no acquaintances in Lebio City. It's time to take action. He bet that this time, after taking Lebio City, the Wongout Empire would still not launch a crusade against him. If the other party chooses to do this, then Caesar is not afraid. At worst, he will have a good fight with the Toot Empire. Because Nishizawa's body size has increased, the magic value in his body has increased rapidly. So now the number of monsters in the fourth natural disaster has reached an astonishing 100,000. Caesar has not been idle during this period, he has been working hard to create his own monster soldiers. Let the number of monster warriors skyrocket. The original monsters all began to wonder whether their Holy Majesty was summoning monsters or an army of monsters. There are simply too many. It's almost like a miracle. I really don't know what His Majesty the Holy Lord paid to summon so many monsters. With such a large number of monsters here, food naturally becomes a problem. Fortunately, the original town of Cordo left a lot of food, as well as some crops and livestock, allowing the monsters to barely survive. Coupled with the human caravans coming and going, it is still possible to starve to death. But this is not the way to go. We still have to conquer Lebio City before we can provide food for the monsters of the fourth natural disaster. Having more monsters is not necessarily a good thing. Nishizawa now understands this deeply. If there are too many monsters, the fourth natural disaster may not be able to support them. Therefore, after the number of monsters in the fourth natural disaster reached 100,000, Caesar stopped using the power of the rat charm. 3 days later, the day comes when the fourth plague attacks the city of Lebio. All the monsters were ready to go, neatly put on high-quality armor, and stood in their own positions. The actions of the monsters aroused the curiosity of the human caravan still in the city. Good boy, so many monsters have gathered. Even the monsters that usually patrol the streets are gone. What are they going to do? Not sure. Oh my god, are they planning to start a war? What would we do if there was a war? While the caravans were talking a lot, Obi, who specializes in managing rest caravans, came to humans. Everyone, as you can see, our fourth natural disaster has some actions, but you can rest assured that it will never affect you. Next, you just need to listen to Wade, and all matters will be left to him to arrange. Everyone is going to the battlefield, and there is no way Obi can stay here. Naturally, this responsibility was placed on Wade. Wade has always been his deputy. Now that he has become a full-time player, I believe he can definitely handle it well. Hello everyone, my name is Wade. As you can see, I am a human being. If you need anything, just tell me. Wade has gained some weight in these days. Sitting in a high position was a position he had never dared to imagine. The caravan members looked at each other. Obi nodded with satisfaction and went to the monster army. Seeing Obi leaving, someone boldly stepped forward and asked, Mr. Wade, don't you know what the monsters are preparing for the fourth natural disaster? They are preparing to attack Lebio City. Anyway, just take a look. The majestic figure of His Majesty the Holy Lord cannot be seen all the time. Wade has long been a loyal follower of Caesar. Even without a slave contract, his loyalty to Shishi is unquestionable. After all, he is Caesar's dog. Once Caesar falls, there will definitely be no good fruits for him as a traitor if he falls into the hands of humans. Dragon's Lair. All the monster leaders gathered here, and this time Nishizawa no longer planned to take action. He handed the defense plan to the former human army commander, Swordmaster Pedri. After Pedri was tortured by the Talisman of Life and Death, he completely became Caesar's slave. He couldn't stand that feeling. It's so painful that I can't live or die. Of course, there is another point, that is, Pedri's wife and children are in Caesar's hands, and he has to listen. Unless he chooses to abandon his wife and children and commit suicide. With the defense map, I'm sure you'll know what to do, Pedri. Caesar said. This time they attacked the city of Lebio, and the commander leading the army was Pedri. After hearing the news, many monster leaders expressed dissatisfaction at first. Think Pedri is not up to the task. But after seeing Pedri's strength, they all fell silent. What a strong human being. It is completely different from the weak human beings I saw before. Please rest assured, His Majesty the Holy Lord, Pedri, will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. I hope you. Pedri looked at Caesar expectantly. No problem, as long as you do a good job, I can let you meet your child, how about it? Caesar knew what Pedri wanted to say. Thank you, Your Majesty the Holy Lord. Pedri said gratefully. He hasn't seen his wife and children for a long time. Not even clear about life or death. I just hope that this Holy Lord will not deceive myself. Pedri gathered his mood and led the team to set off with great momentum. This time the Monster Legion was not led by any dragon, only the monsters themselves and the Swordmaster Pedri. Why don't you let me go this time? Dilla asked angrily. Could it be that he didn't perform well last time and was disliked by Caesar? Even if Caesar didn't come to help last time, he could still win it, okay. It's just a bit of a waste of time, not as fast as Caesar could handle it. Just have a good rest, Dilla. We are noble dragons. We are not required to fight in every battle. Just stay here with peace of mind. Caesar comforted. Dilla is indeed not suitable for leading a team to fight. Although Dilla, as an adult blue dragon, must be very strong, the problem is that Dilla's commanding ability is really low. If he hadn't been there last time, all the humans would have evacuated safely. Then when Dilla fought with Pedri, she never used her full strength, which resulted in wasting so much time. The dragon has such a bad character. Always think of other living things as lowly trash. When fighting these creatures, they will not show their true skills. Only under pressure step by step will he show his true strength. This will greatly delay time. The magic cannon's attack is a magic attack, and the dragon's magic defense is slightly weaker than its physical defense. Caesar was worried that Dilla, a reckless woman, would be injured, so it would be better to stay in the dragon's lair and warm the bed. Dilla doesn't need to worry about the war. City of Lebio. Such a mighty marching force, coupled with the fact that Lebio City has been watching Andrews City's every move. Therefore, when the fourth natural disaster set off, Lebio City was well prepared for defense. Duke Pelos is no longer here. The leader of the army became the mayor of Lebio. Is this evil dragon crazy? He actually wanted to attack Lebio City. It would have been better 3 days ago. The mayor slapped the table angrily. If it were 3 days ago, Princess Freya wouldn't be here. The pressure of managing the army will not fall on you. He has absolutely no experience. Mr. Mayor, the monsters are coming. A guard hurried in to inform. Let the deputy commander of the Imperial Army organize the soldiers to fight. The mayor gave up his power. He is still somewhat self-aware. Since I have no experience as a commander, I might as well give up my power to the deputy commander of the army. At least it's better than myself, a person who doesn't know anything. Yes, the soldiers in Lebio City took action quickly. There is an undercurrent. The fearful residents hid in their houses one by one, closed the doors and windows, and prayed that the Imperial soldiers could successfully repel the powerful enemy. On the other hand, some people were completely unhurried and enjoyed their food calmly. Don't you look scared at all? What are you afraid of? Let me tell you, in fact, I have contacted Mr. Wade in Andrews City a long time ago. Mr. Wade agreed that as long as he stays at home, wears a red hat, kneels down and begs for mercy, the monster will not hurt Zon. Real or fake? Of course it's true. I heard that the people in the small town of Cordo were still alive and well. Give me one. Hearing that this happened, everyone started to fight for the red hat. Be absolutely prepared. In this way, no matter who wins, it will have no impact on the Wang Nujiao. Outside the city, the monster army led by Pedri stopped at a safe distance, took out the defense map and said, Leader Watts. Tell me, Commander Pedri, what do you need me to do? His Majesty the Holy Lord said that everything must be obeyed by Pedri. I need you to lead your Fengdiaolong flying group and wait until our ground troops take action to attack these places. Pedri handed the defense map to Waz's eyes and told him about his tactics. The magic cannon is the greatest threat to the fourth natural disaster monster group in Lebio City. As long as the magic cannon can be destroyed, half of Lebio City will be captured. I understand, leave it to me. Waz slapped his chest confidently. Then he turned around and left to dispatch his own Fengdiao dragon army. This is a special flying unit belonging to the fourth natural disaster. With the power of Fengdiaolong, it is more than enough to destroy the magic cannon. Although the magic cannon is powerful, because it is covered with runes and has a tight structure, it will easily malfunction and lose its effectiveness once it is damaged. What about us? Alistar asked. Next, we will pretend to attack Lebio City, giving Lebio City the illusion that we are mainly attacking the ground. When Leader Waz takes down the magic cannon, it will be the time for us to actually take action. Pedri planned to make a move to attack the east and the west. The evil dragon suddenly invaded, causing Lebio City to fall into a certain panic. Coupled with the previous unexpected death of Duke Pelos, many people were wondering whether there was a spy working for the evil dragon and assassinating Duke Pelos. Anyone who can guess this matter is only one step away from the truth. But what he didn't know was that the person who assassinated Duke Pelos was the beautiful and kind-hearted Princess Freya. Woo 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 woo. The horn of war sounds. Countless monsters, led by monster leaders, attacked Lebio City with firm steps. The soldiers on the walls of Lebio City used bows and arrows to prevent these monsters from approaching the city gate. There are also some magicians who are constantly releasing magic, causing a lot of damage to the monsters. If you are someone who understands the fourth natural disaster, you will find that there are no elites from the fourth natural disaster among the bunch of ground invasion monsters. They are all relatively weak monsters. In the sky, the wind-drifting dragon army led by Waz came to the place designated by Pedri. Hit me here. Waz sat on the back of Fengdiaolong with high spirits and commanded. Under his command, Fengdiaolong flapped its wings, and an extremely cold storm formed from under its wings and swept over the city wall. The soldiers who were about to activate the magic cannon were caught unawares. Before the magic cannon could be lifted out, the runes engraved on it were destroyed by Fengdiaolong's storm, causing the entire magic cannon to lose its effect. Why do these monsters know the location of our magic cannon? Oops, the magic cannon can't be activated. We have a spy in our midst. Despicable monster. The soldiers shouted in panic. Without the magic cannon, the defense level of Lebio City is far inferior to that of Cordo town. Even the small town of Cordo was invaded by the fourth natural disaster. How could Lebio City, which had lost its magic cannon, survive the disaster? Seeing Wozniak, Pedri knew the opportunity had come. Fourth disaster soldiers, it's time for us to attack. Pedri finished speaking. The monster leaders headed by Alistar could no longer bear it any longer and rushed towards Lebio City with their huge bodies. Strengthen, sharpen. A group of ogre priests use the simplest magic attack method. Apply a series of amplification methods to yourself, and then fight the enemy at close range. A magician who cannot fight in close combat is not a good magician. When helping themselves to increase their power, the priests did not forget to help their leaders. Alistar, the majestic dragon turned tauren, rushed at the forefront of the monsters. The arrows shot from above his head could not cause any damage to his hard skin. The thorns that grew out helped him perfectly block long-range attacks from the enemy. Until under the city gate. Boom! Alistar didn't stop his steps and bumped into him hard. The huge black horns hit the city gate hard. It made the thick and tall city gate tremble. The sound of every impact caused the hearts of humans in the city to stop. He was afraid that the city gate would be smashed by Alistar, the tauren. Not just the city gate. Many monsters began to climb the city wall. The monsters' sharp claws can easily sink into the wall, helping them crawl on the wall. The forbidden magic that protects the city is weakening little by little. It was about to break. The mayor of Lebio City was so frightened that he used the teleportation stone and teleported away without saying a word. He was terribly frightened. I would rather face the punishment of the Empire than stay in this city wall that is about to be breached by monsters. The mayor's departure caused the army that had lost Duke Pelos to immediately lose morale. With the city gate shattered, everyone's morale dropped to the bottom. It's hunting time. Alistar unceremoniously grabbed a soldier guarding the door and pinched his head. The helmet protecting his head quickly deformed under his strong grip, and the head under the helmet was squeezed into pieces. This attack was even smoother than the one in Cordo town. The small town of Cordo was able to block it for so long because of the presence of Pedri, the sword master. As for Lebio City, there seems to be a magic cannon. The people who defended the city were not as strong as the small town of Cordo. The moment the magic cannon was destroyed, they turned into lambs to be slaughtered. There is no doubt that this is the unilateral crushing of the fourth natural disaster. There is nothing humans can do to defeat this group of people in Lebio City. The 100,000 Imperial soldiers who had just arrived in Lebio City were even more killed and were so scared that they ran away with their heads covered. It seemed that after losing the backbone of Pelos, he became a lost dog who only knew how to run away. In fact, Pelos's death was nothing, but the mayor of Lebio City later fled the battle, which dealt a big blow to the soldiers' faith. The mayor has run away, so what's the point of them staying here? And this group of monsters is much better than the vicious ones in the rumors. As long as the soldiers are willing to put down their weapons, crawl on the ground, and make no moves, the monsters will pass by them and will not take away their lives. With this, more and more human soldiers gave up resistance. Facing the humans hiding in the house, the monsters ignored them. To the fourth natural disaster, this group of humans is nothing more than a group of people with little fighting ability. After taking charge of Lebio City, we will deal with it slowly. It takes less than a day. The flag belonging to the Thoth Empire in the city of Lebio was pulled down and the dragon symbol of the fourth natural disaster was hung. It means that this will be the territory belonging to the fourth natural disaster. His Majesty the Holy Lord asked Pedri to be the leader of our legion. I can understand it. He is powerful, he is a human being, and his brain is a little smarter than ours. But I can't understand. Is it because he doesn't let us hurt this group of humans because he has compassion for his own people? Cled complained to Alistar. If he were to attack a lizardman force, he, a lizardman, would kill his own people without hesitation. Don't worry about whether they are of the same race or not. Everyone is loyal to different masters, which means that there are completely two camps. Pedri must have his own ideas when he does this. In short, His Majesty the Holy Lord asked us to listen to Pedri, so we can just listen. Alistar's bull brain doesn't want to think too much. Besides, isn't this great? Having captured the city of Lebio so quickly, His Majesty the Holy Lord must be very happy when he finds out. Alistair is right, Cled, you should really use your brain and stop being so confused. Obi came over and echoed. Although other monster leaders have joined, their small group will be stronger. Everyone's relationship will be better. Why are you all speaking for Pedri, a human being? Cled was a little unhappy. Obviously they are friends. I'm not helping Pedri, I'm helping His Majesty the Holy Lord. You're not. Waz also came over at this time. Do you really think they will listen to Pedri? They don't listen to His Majesty the Holy Lord. Cled said a little angrily. Okay, I understand, okay. Stop talking, Pedri gave us a new task, let us catch the humans hiding in the house, by the way, remember not to hurt them. Watts is here to convey Pedri's new mission. Don't hurt them, what if they don't want to come out? Cled wondered. Kill them. Alistair flexed his muscles and signaled. If you don't obey, you will be killed. He can always kill the obedient ones. That's what Pedri meant. Waz added. They couldn't guess what Pedri was thinking. The monster's brain seems to be a bit insufficient. The other side. Bah, you don't deserve to be a human. You don't deserve to be a subject of the Toot Empire. A soldier looked at Pedri with hatred, telling about Pedri's evil deeds. Whether I am a human being or not, it is not your turn to preach. As for the people of the Toot Empire, I'm sorry, but I now belong to the fourth natural disaster. Pedri responded unhappily. He sat on a chair and stepped on the soldier's head. I heard that the mayor of Lebio City ran away. This citizen of the Toot Empire ran really fast. The soldier had nothing to say. The mayor's escape was the reason why Lebio City failed so quickly. Otherwise, Lebio City would never have collapsed so quickly. Andreu's City, Your Majesty the Holy Lord. Congratulations, Lebio City has been successfully captured by the fourth natural disaster. Anal riding a wind-drifting dragon. He returned to Andreas City early and conveyed the good news to Nishizawa. Taken. Caesar raised his head and glanced at the sky. It took less than a day to capture the city of Lebio, which didn't seem to be as difficult as I thought. Much more relaxed than the small town of Cordero. Soon, the news that Lebio City was captured by the Holy Lord reached the ears of the merchants. None of them could believe it. The city of Lebio in the Toot Empire was conquered by the monster army so easily, and it didn't even last a day. Is it over so soon? The strength of the fourth natural disaster is really powerful. Oops, I originally went to the recording studio to do transactions, but now the city of Lebio is gone. What should I do? What did you buy? If we need it, you can sell it to us cheaper. The traders were talking a lot. As a human being, Wade looked delighted. Fortunately we won. If this is lost, he will face the legal punishment of the Toot Empire. You must know that Wade is now closely tied to the fourth natural disaster. One will be prosperous and one will suffer. City of Lebio. The humans were called out one by the monsters and stood neatly in the open area. The surrounding monsters watched them intently, and as long as someone was disobedient, they would immediately pounce on him and eat him. Facing the monsters, food-like looks, humans were frightened. I prayed in my heart that this monster army would really do what I said before and would not harm them. Pedri, here are all the humans. There are still some hiding in the corners who are being picked out one after another. Alistair explained. In the corners of Lebio City, there are still some humans hiding, trying to escape the eyes of monsters. In fact, this group of humans is simply whimsical. Trying to hide it from the monster's nose is completely wishful thinking. It is only a matter of time to find all the humans in Lebio City, unless they have already escaped from Lebio City. Pedri kicked away the soldier next to him who had humiliated him, and stepped in front of everyone. Seeing their fellow humans, the noisy crowd suddenly fell into silence, and they felt happy. If their family members are still with each other, does that mean they really don't have to die? I need you to choose a representative to speak to me. Pedri said. The words just fell. This group of humans began to discuss. After a while, a middle-aged man in fairly gorgeous clothes stood up and said, "Hello, this gentleman, my name is Daco Blair. You can just call me Daco." Daco Blair, you must be a noble. Pedri asked. Yes, I am a count, and I am the most noble among all the people present. I believe I should have this qualification. Duok nodded. With his status as a noble, he easily gained the recognition of this group of survivors. I know what you are thinking. You want to live, and the fourth natural disaster can give you this opportunity. Pedri said clearly. In fact, this was not his own idea, it was something His Majesty the Holy Lord had told him before he came. So Alistar, the leader of the monsters, really misunderstood Pedri. Real. Duoc looked happy and said. Who doesn't want to survive? Especially he, a noble who cherishes his life, wants to live more than anyone else. If he had known that the city's guardians were so useless, he would have left with his family long ago. Where else to stay in the city of Lebio? Have you seen me? I am able to achieve my current status only by surrendering to His Majesty the Holy Lord. Aren't I living a good life? Pedri spread his arms generously and said. So we only need to surrender to this noble dragon, and we can survive. Doko asked. Of course, this is the promise given to me by His Majesty the Holy Lord. As long as humans are willing to surrender, our Holy Lord will give you a chance. Pedri can probably guess why His Majesty the Holy Lord did this. There are still too few talents for the fourth disaster. This group of human beings in front of us can supplement various talents for the fourth natural disaster. This is the current shortcoming of the fourth natural disaster. Wait a moment, Mr. Pedri, I need to explain the situation to this group of people. Doke is very happy. In any case, he was ready to surrender to the fourth natural disaster. Isn't it just for people to live? What's the point of surrendering to the dragon? To put it 10,000 steps back, if the Empire comes back later, it won't be a big deal. He is from an Earl family and has the ability to take him out. Just find any reason. Duoc passed on Pedri's words, which can be said to have stirred up waves in the crowd. Some people said it was impossible. They were loyal to the Toot Empire and were the subjects of the Empire. How could they betray the Empire? Everyone, don't forget, we are the subjects of the Empire. In order to survive, do you have to surrender to an evil dragon? A man stood up and said. Yes, we are the subjects of the Toot Empire. Long live the Thoth Empire. Long live. The noisy sound made Pedri frown. Why are these people so stupid? Don't they know that the monsters around them have already been eyeing them? The monsters are ready to move. At this time, the first human being to speak suddenly floated in midair for some reason. What's wrong with me? The man fluttered in midair in panic. He seemed to be lifted up by a mysterious force. Oh my God, is this a miracle? Congratulations, you have been chosen by the gods. Great, we are saved. Am I chosen by the gods? Ha ha ha, just wait and see, you monsters, I will kill you all right away. The man listened to the words of the group of people below and said in a daze for a moment. Didn't you think that one day you would gain the power of the gods? What an unexpected surprise. It's a pity the next second. A voice pushed him down from the cloud. This is not the power of some so-called god, it is my power, idiot. The crimson giant dragon appeared in this area at some unknown time. The burning fire jumped on the scales, making him look like red clouds in the sky, so eye-catching. Exuding a faint dragon power, the pressure caused the life on the scene to bow their heads. 0. The obsidian dragon crown tells of his noble status and identity. The reason why this human being can float is thanks to the power of Nishizawa, the dragon. The floating chicken talisman directly controls humans from a distance. Yes, it's a dragon. The appearance of Caesar made many people take a breath of cold air and take a step back in fear. He wanted the person in front of him to resist the pressure from the dragon for him. What did you just say? Can you tell me again? Caesar used the chicken charm to control the man and bring him to him. Looking at the terrifying eyes of the giant dragon, the man no longer had the courage to speak out as boldly as before. He tightened his neck in fear and did not dare to look at it. I tell you, humans, I can let you live, and I can also let you die. Now I will give you another chance. Find out all the people who echoed his words just now, otherwise, you will all die here. The terrifying majesty spread instantly. Everyone felt like the world was shattering, their heads were blank, and they were dumbfounded. After a while, I finally came to my senses, and the first thing I did when I came back to my senses was to push out the person who had just set the rhythm. I'm not who I am. Nonsense. I heard you talking. What are you doing? We are in the same group. What are we talking about? We are His Majesty the Dragon King's people. What is yours? What nonsense are you talking about? I'm your brother. It doesn't even matter that you are my sister. Less than half an hour. A group of people were pushed out one after another. As soon as he exited, he was swarmed by nearby monsters and devoured him alive in front of everyone. The screams resounded across the sky, making people tremble with fear and trembling. I am afraid that it will be my turn next. Standing next to Caesar, Pedri once again felt the cruelty of the red dragon. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.